Chat.
Their name is Chad now.
Chad?
Chad.
Chud?
Chud. What were you going to say, Jason?
I was going to say, they shouldn't feed me this much caffeine.
That's on...
It's a lot.
I think it's because it's like a nice green tea.
It has stuff floating in it.
Oh, you got real fruit in there.
Is that what that is? Mango? Malaysian mango, it says.
That was my stripper name.
Malaysian mango? And up next. All eyes to center stage. It's Malaysian mango, formerly known as Christmas sushi.
DJ B-roll. Welcome in, everybody.
Prisoner says there's no such thing as too much caffeine. For me, that's an easy line to cross.
I guess so.
I don't drink caffeine very often.
You're lumberjack. I am not late.
I'll have a Coke and or a Dr. Pepper with Mexican food most of the time.
Doctor.
And black tea, when black tea doesn't do what this is doing to me.
Yeah.
Like this gives me pressure in my head and
tea?
see through walls, and
there's probably more caffeine in that drink.
Gonna talk a lot and grit my teeth. And
how's it going, everybody? We got Paint Liquor, Danger, Lumberjack.
Caffeine makes you sleepy? Well, that's when you take too much of it. Double T. Welcome, everybody. Going on, Tim? Thanks for streaming, Monument folks. Catching y'all from the office today like a sucker. Why are you a sucker for watching us at the office? Just don't tell the boss. Angel. Don't tell your boss. You wonder if it's the sugar too. It has some sugar in it. I don't usually do sweet tea. Although last night we went to Lolo's.
We did.
And you know what, chat? Chris did a 180.
I did do a 180. I was
on my way literally home. Did a 180. Like drove out of the parking lot, did a U-turn, came back, and went to eat chicken with us.
Yep.
So he had chicken and waffles with me and Jen and my mom.
Yes, it was.
You laughed so hard at Malaysian mango and center stage.
Malaysian
All
mango.
Eyes on the stage. It's Malaysian mango.
If I'm stripping, I'm paying the viewer. I actually have to pay the viewer to watch this. Oh, man.
You're on a constant IV of caffeine, Super Duper John. You got to stop that stuff, man.
That Chai Cat, 8 months. Thank you so much.
I cannot drink. If you were to feed me an energy drink, the world would crack in half.
We could build planets.
It's like you don't want to make that a thing.
Yeah, I don't do energy
There
drinks.
was one trip where we went from California to the middle of Kansas, where I took the picture of that ball of twine.
Yeah.
We went from California to the middle of Kansas, straight, no stops, other than gas.
Wow.
And about on the last leg of that trip, in the middle of the night, 2 a.m., crossing into Kansas, trying to get there on the last tank of gas, and I drank some big 48-ounce can of grape nonsense that I think I saw Jesus behind the dashboard lights. It was crazy. I was singing at the top of my lungs, had the window down. It was like 20 degrees out. I was roasted. Wow. I was like, now I know what drugs feel like.
6 a.m. ends at 2. That's not bad. 8 a.m. I see.
6 a.m. and ends at 2 a.m. You get 4 hours to do stuff. Wait, what?
Planet Jason instead of Planet Hulk? Could be.
No paint danger. Well, that sucks.
All right. No more nonsense. Hey, that's what I just had, Ogre.
Avian says, what does a consumer bee sound like again?
Brr.
It was, hi! Have you heard about solar panels?
It's something.
I mean, how else could this thing sound? Right?
Yeah.
Like, how else does this guy sound when he comes ringing your doorbell? Hi! I'd like to talk to you about tree service. I feel like tree service is a thing they sell in our neighborhood a lot. Alarms, pest control.
Pest control. Read this for me, Jason.
Papa Chicken says, I got a new gym membership. Wait a minute. I feel like I'm being duped here.
Read it.
I got a new gym membership 3 months ago, and I haven't seen any improvements. I'm fed up and plan to show up in person tomorrow and figure out what's going on.
That one
so
struck
it's
me.
Hard. It's hard to produce that kind of laziness.
From the joke?
Hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Like, can you imagine joining a gym?
Oh.
And then the only time you walk in is 30 days later where you say, this month has been crap. I want to cancel my membership. Nothing's happened. And they're like, well, you haven't even ever come in. It's like, oh, you have to come in?
You have to do something. Hey, Dunbris, 15 months. Thank you so much.
Sazzle. Hey, you guys.
I'm really happy for all of us.
I'm really happy for all of us.
We've all made good decisions in our lives. Welcome in, everybody.
What's the big guy from Goonies?
We're gonna get it. Somebody say it. I know who you're talking about. Come on, everybody, say it for us.
What's the big Sloth? Yeah, Sloth. Because Chunk's the kid. Chunk's the belly dance kid. Right?
Sloth. Yep. Yes. Sarcastic Grandpa, 270 stream streak. I don't believe it.
It's impossible. It's a lie because I'm only 55 years old. It's not 270 and 55 are not the same number.
No, that's days, Jason. Stream streak days. What do you need to get your stream streak? Is it like 5 minutes viewing or something? Half of you are probably pooping just to get that stream streak number. Wow, you all smoked me on that one.
The truffle shuffle. Yeah.
Jason?
What
What are we doing today?
Talking to the people.
What are we doing with this model?
I think I got to paint.
I'll paint it.
No, you won't.
I tried, chat. You saw it right there.
No, he won't.
What is that supposed to mean?
I will not turn my children over to such a inadequate pair of hands.
Wow. Deep.
I get to be brutal every now and then.
Deep cut.
I get to be brutal every now and then.
9
I'm interested in working on the mouth more.
Okay.
That's not something you hear out loud every day. Magenta, how I love you.
What are you going to do on this
wop, 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 wop.
Gaping maw?
Wop, 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 wop. I think that the magenta may not be bright enough because we airbrushed it yesterday, so we'll see if I can get some of the detail work done off the brush with magenta first. I like to at least start with the airbrush color off the brush to see if I can get more intensity out of it with a color like magenta. It's kind of in that mid-value range. We airbrushed it late yesterday, but we can't get a really good angle on it. So we'll see if it brightens up off the brush. If it doesn't, then we'll switch over to like pink. But the first thing I want to be doing is kind of going in and seeing if we can get a little bit more brightness on some of these. I think we can. I think
you can. Avian said, we got singing. Hey, thank you for those bits. Avian likes to give us bits every time you sing, Jason.
Well, I mean...
Uh-oh.
Me.
That's not for...
We're going to be millionaires. Because I got pipes.
I hope everybody's having a great day today.
I got pipes.
You got pipes?
Yeah, if everybody out there donates $1 every time I sing, we'll be millionaires in at least 32 years.
Okay.
You got time to wait, Chris?
I've got time.
By then, inflation will have made $1 million irrelevant.
We won't be using the currency anymore. Beep boop. We'll be giving away our palms and
Wait,
DNA.
what? Giving away palms?
Our
like
palms,
trees?
like our DNA.
Oh.
That's how we'll
You'll
do
pay
it.
in DNA?
Yeah. Oh. I don't know about
they
that
have
one.
those.
I know. It's the future. Fishy Farmer, is the paint competition at Adepticon still in the works?
See.
We are going to have information for you this week.
It is a done deal. It will be live.
Yep.
We are just getting all of the final details ironed out for the text, and then we will have the landing page on the website.
You'll have all that information.
But you are looking at the Miniatures as Art celebration at Monument Hobbies this year at Adepticon.
Yep.
And we've got all the stuff coming on. We actually are partnering up with Base Layer, really cool web group too, to bring you a web version of the contest.
Yep.
It's already up and running.
Jason, what is Base Layer?
Base Layer is an amazing website done by some really cool people that is kind of like a Pinterest, Instagram type thing.
Yeah.
That's strictly mini painting. It's thebaselayer.com. Base Layer. Baselair. So it's a play on words, like the base layer of paint.
Yep.
But also the base layer like Batman's cave.
Yep.
So really, really cool. Go check it out.
I'll put the
We're
link
working
in.
with Base Layer to bring the Miniatures as Art celebration online as well. So if you can't go to Adepticon, we've got an event for you there.
I'm gonna link the challenge thing. Actually,
Yeah.
1 second. Chris will actually give this to you right now.
Chris is a nice guy. Don't tell him I said that, but
I really enjoy Base Layer. You can find Jason and I on there.
I just posted a bunch of stuff over there the other day.
Yeah. Me too. I've been.
A lot of people have been asking if I would create like a gallery of some of my stuff.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to do it over there.
Yep. Yes. If you guys haven't signed up for Base Layer, go click that link.
It's free.
That link right there is the actual challenge portion of it. So it has all the information there. So if you can't make Adepticon, this is your alternative so that you can participate no matter where you're at.
It's free. Adepticon isn't free, but
Well, no.
Base Layer is free. It's a really cool place. No fuss, no mess. I know the people behind it, and they're good, genuine folks. They're not trying to steal your data. It's not a Chinese phishing site or anything.
Yep.
It's a legit people who love the hobby doing people who love the hobby things. So it's really, really cool. I'm a big fan. I heavily support it.
Yeah, so those links right there will show you.
This is basically just edge highlighting, even if I'm having to create some of the edges.
Mm-hmm.
Because not all these details exist, but a lot of them do. So I'm just going in and giving some...
Could you dry brush this?
I mean, getting this physical shape would be hard, but yes, you could. The problem is you'll drive a lot more paint on or not enough because of the shape. You've got this overhang of a tongue, so how do you get the brush in there to do it correctly without pulling too much paint over surfaces?
Because after this, you said you're going to step up to pink, maybe?
Maybe. My goal is to see how far we can get in the pink range before we dump some Payne's Gray over it.
Sazzle's asking, do they have an app?
Not at this time, I don't believe.
Not yet.
But it is optimized for web on the phone.
Yeah.
So going there and doing everything, all the user interfaces and everything work great on the phone. You can take the pictures of your minis and then upload them and handle all that on the phone interface super easy.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need no app. Shoot.
Yes, prisoner, it is a large tongue. You should, Jason, I don't know if you want to. I don't know. I was going to say you should do some kind of wild drool on this guy.
No.
Some slobber.
Nope.
What if you did do that, though?
But what if I don't do that?
You could.
I don't like it.
You could do something like making it all slobbery.
I don't like that.
Glossy.
I don't like those things. I don't do a lot of that effect. You can do it with like Oohoo.
Oh, I mean, heck, I meant just like the consistency of the...
Oh, I'll make it shiny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to make the all of this shiny.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's salivating.
Yeah,
but I'll do it in more of a non-metallic reflective surface painting way. I won't do... Oh. I thought you meant like effects.
No, that would be kind of cool.
I don't do those things very often. It takes a lot to get me excited about doing effects like that because you can't paint them as easily. I mean, you can, but it's not hard. Easy. Yeah.
To get the reflection off a slobber.
Yeah, well, you're putting something like that on there so that you have a clear resin. It's like doing water effects. I try to stay away from that kind of stuff most of the time just because it's not very painterly at the end of the day.
Yep.
Not horrible. Not that you shouldn't do it. It's just not a preference of mine.
I see. Okay.
Said the blind man. As
I guess so. I mean,
dude.
I guess I understand.
Whatever, dude.
I mean, that's cool. You don't have to do that.
I know I don't.
What if the doctor told me that was the only way I'd live?
I bought you fried chicken last night. That's what I tell the doctor. That the fried chicken should have made him live. If the fried chicken couldn't make him live, then I'm sure as hell not painting slobber. See how this works?
You guys hear his tone? Like just the wild, you know? He gets all Tony with me, you know?
You get all Tony with you?
Tony. That's from Seinfeld. Do you have any tips for fur cloaks, says Chaos Angel? I'm doing a bust and his cloak still looks flat after working it up. I started with warm brown, did light umber over that, then light umber beige gray, and finally beige gray. Did a flesh wash in the shadows. Any tips for fur cloaks?
So when you say it looks flat, what do you feel like it's missing? None of the colors that you put on there have a lot of darkness to them. So are you missing maybe some shadow contrast? That would be the case. You know, warm brown is a good mid-tone brown, kind of low mid-tone. But as a shadow, starting with something like, you know, letting black brown show up underneath it, or the warm brown over black base and letting that thinness, let it be a much darker brown would work.
Possibly, says Chaos Angel. Possibly.
Because it sounds like you have good mid-tone and highlight, right? Beige gray is bright-ish.
Bright-ish.
So, you know, it's still what I would consider to be a mid-tone. So let's just take that.
Love beige gray.
Right. So in the colors that you just talked about,
yep.
Warm brown, light umber, beige gray, and then finally beige gray. So light umber and beige gray are not too different, right? There is a value change, but only a step or two, right? So if we're talking about this workup right here,
yeah,
right, that doesn't have enough difference between your dark and your brightest color to really give you good volumes and value transition for contrast. So some choices you have, and the harder one is black brown, because placing the black brown underneath the colors you've already done is going to be really difficult, because if you do a wash or whatever to get it in the recesses, you're going to darken all this up too. So that may not be the thing, but you could do a black brown wash to get it darker, then re-highlight with your beige gray to bring your contrast back up and see how you like that. And if that doesn't get you where you need to, then off of beige gray, a neat spot to go is like dark ivory. That'll give you the punch, right? This will be your fake white. I always say that every time you're doing a portion of a model, you need a deep shadow and you need a bright highlight. What I mean by deep shadow and bright highlight is variable. This could be the brightest highlight you put on a thing, and we'll call it your white. It isn't. It's nowhere close to white when you look at it in terms of actual value. When I put white there, it like looks like a mid-tone, right? But this is the white in your equation, because you don't want it to be bright, shiny brown fur maybe, but you do want that little spot, like hair, especially in fur. Even if it's on a cloak or something, it's not alive anymore. So the oils that would come from the hair follicle and be on the hair are not there. But I still treat it almost like it is. So you get a little bit of shine on the folds of hair, and you can go to just a very little bit of this, and you can bring contrast there. You can even do that here, so you don't have to darken. Now look at the difference between your dark and your bright color. So you might not have to add more shadow. You might add more brightness. If you find that the brightness desaturates the brown too much, because this will definitely make it look more beige and tan. These colors will be where your cloak color is. Whereas here, these color is where your cloak is. And so if you really want the cloak to be more centered on a brown, then this gets you there. And then you just use this as a very spot highlight. Very, very little of this, so that it still stays here for the look of the color. Because remember, the color we view things as, until you put either way too much brightness or way too much darkness on it, the color is here in the midtones. And really, here. That's what the fur will look like. This will shade it. This will shade it darker and give you contrast. This will brighten it up. But you have to be careful how much of these colors you leave visible if you want it to look like this. Because the more you add, the more it shifts the visual of the cloak to either darker, like just these colors, and then eventually like this, if you don't show much of the brightness, or like this, if you show too much brightness. That's all what color balancing is all about when we talk about how we layer up. It's like, if I don't put too much brightness, this is a good example here on the black armor on this guy, right? Pop in close on this guy, right? If I put more brightness on this, it stops looking like black and it will start looking like gray-blue, because I'm at that balance point where I have enough darkness still that you can tell it's supposed to be a dark leather, but I've only got a little bit of shine, very little paint for the shine on this at all. And that's the way you want to handle that cloak. Think of all your browns and then go back with dark ivory and treat dark ivory like you see me using the white blue here, where it's just in these very few spots. But those very few spots pull contrast onto it that makes the volume more visibly pleasing, right? So you can do that, right? Or you can just go darker like here, where you don't see any of the white blue, and you can keep it like this. So it's a choice you make, especially when painting dark objects.
mo you know.
We know a Mo.
Thank you, Jason.
Why, thank you, Christopher. It's always good having you here. As a matter of fact, I would go so far as to say you're the star of the show most of the time. Ha ha!
Thank you. Mally, what's going on?
Oh, Mally.
Mally, you're up way too late, mister.
Mally, my friend.
Deep blue, green, and the shades will work too. Nice, yeah. I love a good deep green shadow.
Well, now.
Wow. We should give Jason tea more often.
That's a lot of tea. Hi.
All right.
Can we talk about your home's warranty?
Maybe we'll finish this model earlier than we think, Jen.
Oh my God, 50 miles an hour. Woo! I have had way too much caffeine. Jen is not going to want me home tonight.
Jen, batten down the hatches.
Either that or I'm going to pass out here in about 30 minutes. We might lose a big head of steam.
It might be the beautiful crash. Hey, welcome in, everybody. Lyle says, have you ever done any competition painting? If so, do you have any advice for someone who may consider doing it?
I have. It's not where I love being. I have a Golden Demon and a Forge World Best of Show under my belt. Back from 2005. And that was only done under pressure from all the people around me at Games Workshop that wanted me to paint to be in it. So I did it. I pleased them. It's like Chris telling me I got to dance.
Dance.
Oh, you will dance.
Oh, you will dance.
And so I danced and I won. I don't like competition painting. I don't think art is a competition, but we're doing a competition at Adepticon. There are a lot of people that love it. In terms of what you should be doing, I think it's really... I would love to say that a lot of it is confidence in your own work is the best thing, right? Paint for nobody other than yourself, okay? Mally's a good teacher of this because he goes to competitions and has his models. He's entered in a lot. And win, lose, or draw, he's always liking having his stuff up there. He got some notables at SMC, I think.
Yeah.
Or at Contrast, maybe. I think it was SMC. But even not winning a prize, it's still that journey. It's still getting good feedback. It's seeing the other models. I think realism and managing your expectations is the biggest thing. Then it's all about leveling up your skill. Once you go, you'll never know what you need to do until you go to one. Yeah. And win, lose, or draw, look at the range of models in the field and see what you did well compared to them and what you might not have done so well compared to the winners. Yeah. If you can get access to talk to people in the judging arena, that's even better because then you can start looking at, hey, on my piece, what was it that you feel like I could have done better? That's always a great question rather than how come I didn't win, right? Like, hey, how can I level up for next year? What do I need to be looking for? A lot of that you'll see, right? Because you'll see that maybe the show you're at really takes into account smooth blending and vibrant colors or something. Because at the end of the day, judging is fairly subjective, and you're never guaranteed anything just because you're good, right? It could be who you know. There are lots of competitions. I'm not going to lie. There's lots of competitions where who you know is directly relatable to how well you do in the competition. And that's why I don't like competitions a whole lot, but it's an unfortunate truism.
Yeah.
If you're not part of the in crowd and,
Mally's saying, number one rule for competition painting, paint what you have a desire to paint.
Yep. Rule of cool.
Rule of cool.
Something you enjoy because you'll put your best effort into the things you love. So that's a given. And then go for it. Enter. Bring your piece, put it in, learn the field, and then it's really your second, third, fourth, and fifth competitions that you come alive.
Yeah.
That make sense?
Yeah.
Because your first competition is going to be a learning experience if you haven't done it before. And you should be open to that learning experience. It'll work great.
Yeah.
You'll have fun no matter what. And then
that's it.
Look for number 2.
Nice.
And sometimes you might do, like, say you do one at Adepticon, and then the next year you just spend the whole year doing the piece for the following Adepticon.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that. Maybe you want to go to every competition you come across in your hometown, or, you travel the world, right? Up to you how you do it from there. I know lots of people that started very small and meager, and then, as they got in and they started understanding it and got their confidence in their painting legs, if we want to call it that, then they would go to every competition. See them traveling the globe now, going to show after show, putting their models in. That's great. Be one of the greatest vacation tours on the planet. Imagine going to every miniature painting competition on the planet and entering a piece, win, lose, or draw. Of course, you got to have hell of finances because you don't win a lot of anything at these competitions.
Yeah, that's great advice. Thank you, Jason. Battle Brother says, evening from the UK. Quick question. How do you temporarily fix arms to a mini that covers its chest without them moving when dry brushing? Or do you just grin and bear the arms moving about?
I typically don't do sub-assemblies, we call that.
Yeah.
I typically just attach everything and then paint around it all. Because if it's covering the chest, you're going to have a lot of shadow on that chest. So in a lot of cases, you don't need to paint in high detail what's behind it. If for some reason you have a model where maybe and it's hard to envision like this, but maybe this other one is better, right? So maybe like this, where you have this arm holding the bow.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe if this were the chest and the arm coming across the front, maybe there's enough room in there that enough light would get in, so you just are worried about, banging your paintbrush in as you paint all the stuff up under the arm, and you want to leave that off, but you are trying to dry brush. A lot of times what really helps on that is to do a pre-highlight or a zenithal highlight on the model. White tack the arm in place. Zenithal prime the model so that it shows you on the arm where the bright spots would be in relation to how it sits on the model. Then pop the arm off, dry brush the model to do whatever you're doing there, and then dry brush the arm separately using the same direction given your lighting on the model, right? So here you can tell that, like on this arm, imagine it was just, stuck on right now.
Right.
You can see how my shadow and my zenithal has the red oxide primer on the bottom, and then all my color falling across the top, so I have this neat warm shadow. Well, if I stuck it on, did all of that pre-highlight, I could take the arm off, and I still know that if I were going to dry brush, for my lighting direction, which is kind of over here on the right side of the face, that I know I could take that arm, and based on how the highlight hit it, I know how to dry brush the arm while it's sitting by itself. I know I wouldn't dry brush this side because that's the dark side versus this side, which is the bright one, right? So you can do some things that help guide you if you want to paint in sub-assemblies and not have to worry about painting it while it's kind of loosely tacked to the model, because dry brushing will knock it off. You'll hate it, like you said. So I think those things are good. But then again, like I said, I hate sub-assemblies, right? I just don't do. I build models. I like to see my models done. So like this guy built.
Yeah.
Like just built. And there's areas where it's hard to get up underneath there to do the reds and the arm. So when I airbrushed first so the airbrush red could get up underneath the arm, and I get overspray, and then I cover the overspray up with the brush paint. So again, sometimes you can think about, okay, if it's going to be hard to dry brush the model with the arm across the chest, maybe glue it on, right? Do all the painting that doesn't include the dry brushing on the chest. It's easy to do. And then do the dry brushing after the fact so that you can do it while the arm is glued on. Yeah. So you can stage things in how you do it, rather than worrying about, because this guy, there were a lot of reasons to do this guy in sub-assemblies, because think about, I had to, you had to play operation and get the paintbrush all up inside underneath the coats or the cloak so you don't bang the edges and get paint where you don't want it. But for me, it was more worth it to put it all together, because this one, the seams for the cloak are across the shoulders. And even though he has these kind of emblem panels or whatever on top, that I think I'm supposed to paint gold or something, I didn't want to put those together after the fact, right? So I tend to glue everything together first. I'm going to have some more caffeine. Woohoo!
What's up, Mo?
Hi, Mo.
Welcome in, everybody.
Hi, Mo.
We got a lot coming up. So many questions about, is there a reason does Jason does things this way? Prisoner.
What
where
way?
The answer ends up being do it any other way makes Jason grouchy. What? So many questions about, is there a reason does Jason does things this way, where the answer always ends up doing it any other way makes Jason grouchy.
What?
Prisoner, I need you to respell out what you tried to say there.
Makes me grouchy.
I think you're making a funny, but I read it how you said it.
Do it my way or the highway.
Yeah.
No, that's the thing, is it? I make choices on the way I do things solely for my own enjoyment and laziness. You know, some things make sense. But yeah, I'm not 100% set on anything. I change my mind regularly.
Hamandu says, just got a new Hard-Earned Steamback Ultra 2024.
Awesome.
Finding that the Vallejo Black primer as well as the black Stanzers dries my needle very fast. Will Pro Acryl primer work better?
So
I don't know what that last one was.
A lot of that might be based on how you spray.
You use a 3 and a 22 psi, right?
Yeah. I've heard bad things about, brushes sometimes coming with deformities in the nozzle area that could be causing tip dry. But assuming that you got a good brush,
yeah,
maybe adjust your PSI up a little bit for what you're spraying when you spray those primers with that brush. And the reason I say up is because forcing more air volume through the nozzle will cause you to move all the paint off the needle by the time you stop. Also, remember that higher resolution airbrushes, I don't think that's better quality airbrushes will need you to not just release the trigger to stop. Because by releasing the trigger, you will force paint with no air, because as the trigger goes forward, air stops, right? You press down for air, pull back to get paint, and then if you let go of the trigger, the first thing that happens is you let go like this and air stops, then it slides the needle forward. If you're stopping air by lifting up like this and then letting the needle travel forward, there's no air to suck the rest of the paint out, but you're pushing the needle that's covered with paint forward with no air now, right? So it's actually better when airbrushing to be brushing back here and then let the needle go forward as air is stopping too. So there's air and paint together all the way through, and then let go here. When you're doing this kind of painting, it's why doing the kind of spurt painting like this, right? Yeah. Burst painting can cause you to get spotting and tip dry, because you're letting air go first on this part here, and then the needle slides forward covered with paint, which puts paint on the needle at the end with no air, and that paint will start drying immediately. And if you're doing this a lot, then it doesn't have a whole lot of time to dry, but you risk getting, splatters of paint, right? So it's much better to air, paint, no paint, release air. Make sense?
Yeah.
Because now you've had air the whole time you've let the needle come back out, so any paint that's on the needle as it extrudes has air pulling it off, and then you release, right?
Yep.
So now you get less skinning of paint on the tip of the needle and less chance for tip dry. But now tip dry can be caused by all sorts of other things too. Tip dry can be caused by a kink in the needle, even though it's brand new. It can be caused by a imperfection in the circle and the shroud, the cover that goes over the air mixing chamber.
Yeah.
Because if that's elliptical or elongated or bent, then it can cause turbulence right there where the air comes out, and that'll force air to dry crazily on your needle. So there's all sorts of physical deformities that can happen too, but assuming new brush, I don't usually say that's the problem. It could be just your trigger action. Try consciously practicing air, paint, no air, right? Reverse the process. Don't just let go of the trigger. It's so easy to just let go of the trigger, and that causes a lot of that.
There you go. The more you know. I've said that 2 times today. This is what Prisoner was trying to say, Jason.
When the question is asked, why does Jason do a thing in a particular way? The answer ends up being, I'm grouchy and this is how I like it. I'm not grouchy. It is how I like it usually.
Just got here. Are you folks giving one of these bad boys away? No, not today.
Not today, but we are this week, yes.
We'll let you know on socials. And if it hasn't happened today, it'll probably happen at some time this
week.
Will
see the message come up through. It's a year of the giveaway. So we're doing a big giveaway every week. And this week happens to be one that we're doing in tandem with Parabellum Games, and you will get yourself a Consumption Beast if you're the winner. So you'll see the link pop up. There it is right there in chat. Click that link, whether you're in Twitch, Kick, or YouTube. Click that link, put in all your data, it asks for your email. Make sure to put in the name you want us to call out. If you put in your real person name, that's the name we'll call. It asks for your YouTube, Kick, or Twitch handle. But when you win, we'll call you out. And if you have to be here to win, if you call out a name and within 30 seconds to a minute you don't answer in chat, then we move on and pick another winner. So
there you go.
Got to be here. And you got to be paying attention to all the socials to figure out what day the giveaway is each week, because it's a different day. Chris comes in and says, you know what, today I feel like a giveaway, and then we do it that day. It's that easy. Might be tomorrow. Might be Thursday, might be Friday. Who knows?
You have to stay tuned.
Who knows?
Tomorrow.
But this week, one lucky winner will walk away with a consumption beast. And it's a fun model, man. It's really cool.
Tomorrow we're doing the January challenge review, everybody. Good segue, Jason. Remember, tomorrow we're doing the January challenge review. So be here, and we'll do that at the back half of stream.
Oh, Kenneth the Red says that the new Ultra 2024 is engineered to do exactly what I was saying. Okay.
Yep.
So it has something that keeps the trigger pushed down for you while you pull back.
Yeah.
And then the trigger doesn't travel vertically until the end when there's no paint. That's smart. It was not told to me like that the first time somebody explained it. They explained that you can't pull back
it's odd.
Unless you've pushed down.
Yeah.
But if the idea is that you can't go vertical until you're at the very beginning, then that explains why what I just said. It's letting people do what I just said, which is good. That's a good thing. Now I understand it.
Yeah.
It was not told to me that way, Kenneth. So that's good. Now I get it, and now I applaud them for doing that, because as a beginner's brush, that's one of the biggest muscle memory things you have to remember. You will see me paint where I do not do that, where I'm pulsing the paintbrush, but that is a more convoluted method that you gain confidence to paint with the brush in many different ways. So that's the only thing that worried me about saying that it was built to only operate one way, is it can't really grow with you, because there are times where you want paint and then you want to release the air while you still have paint.
Yeah.
Right? Spatter effects and things like that you can imagine doing, but also just pulse painting works really great for filters and things like that. But is there a way you can take it off and not have that?
I think you can take the back off, if I'm not mistaken.
But that wouldn't be the part that makes that happen. It would be something in the valve.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not
or
sure.
Or in the trigger guide, where the trigger won't pull back until you push it down. I wonder if you let go, if it's a hard channel thing in this, I'm talking crazy now. If they've CNC'd it to where there's a key on the trigger and you can't pull it back because you have to push it down for the key to go into the part of the channel that allows it to pull back, then when you let go of the trigger, it stays in that channel and would still push the needle forward before releasing the air. So it'd be automated, which could be kind of cool, because then you could still push and pull and get the pulse action. I'd be interested to see one of those. That might be neat.
I think my dad has that one.
Oh, you take the collar off, but the trigger is like that always. Okay, yeah. I would like to check that out.
It's their beginner
Kenneth,
one.
that might be interesting.
I'll have to bring that to
you. Like,
you.
if you have it pulled back and you just let go, it will ride the channel and force the needle to go up before it pops the button back up, even without your finger involved. That would be kind of cool, actually.
Yeah, yes.
But yeah, Wolfenholm, if it builds good habits, which is great, because that muscle memory for airbrushing, getting that dialed in is something you'll need all the time. You won't grow out of doing it that way. When I get myself into trouble, it's because I have grown out of that muscle memory, because I've just rapid fire done so much airbrushing over the decades that the couple of times I make a mistake is when I get some spurting, is because I've done exactly what I'm talking about. I've hammered the thing back and then just let go. And I wind up with the needle having wet paint on the end, and then I go back to do the next area, and when you add air, it spatters that paint off. So bad habits that you pick up just by being lazy, even when you know better. LaPlante, what's going on? Hope everybody is having a good day. What is today, Chris?
Monday.
Is today Tuesday?
Today is Monday.
It's Tuesday, because we did this on Monday.
You did this on Monday.
Okay. I was trying to give you some action in the...
What? No, I'm absorbing. I'm listening. I'm reading chat. Everybody, I think airbrushing is a mythical thing for some people. And it definitely is until you start practicing it. So if you're new to airbrushing,
it's a real tool. Like, it's a real tool in the way that woodworking would mystify people, because they hadn't ever used a table saw or a band saw, right? And so you've got to think, now, an airbrush isn't going to chop your fingers off, hopefully.
That's true.
But at the end of the day, processes that require tools like an airbrush are always a little bit mystified at the beginning until you learn the tool, right? You can't expect to operate and do good woodworking until you've learned how to use the tools, right? There's no technique you can do, even if you can say, well, yeah, I could use a handsaw. Well, you still have to learn the handsaw.
Yeah.
Over the table saw.
It's just another tool.
It's a tool, but you have to learn how to use all the tools. And
learn the tools.
Learning the tool of an airbrush before you just put paint in it and start saying, oh my God, I can never do it. It's a lot about just playing with the tool. Practicing, we show you lots of things you can do to practice on just a paper towel or a napkin or a piece of paper, right? Before even going to plastic, that will help you get better at understanding what happens with the tool when you press the button a certain way, then the paint a certain way. And only through doing that over long periods of time will you gain the confidence to just kind of get it, right? It's like everybody needs to bend a needle, unfortunately, so you can understand why you really want to make sure you do the things that don't bend your needle. Because as soon as you have a bent needle, you're like, oh, I don't ever want to do that again.
Speaking of never wanting to do that again.
Oh, boy. So many I can think of.
Speaking of... No, wow. That got real deep real quick. Welcome in, everybody. We're painting today.
Chris,
Hopefully
I told you that I'm not doing that anymore, right?
No, you will. Yes, you will. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, Jason, I have a future thing that we're probably going to do.
What?
Your mother has made a request of you.
Oh my gosh. She did.
Isn't that right, Jason?
She did.
Now, what did your mother request?
Last night at dinner, Mom, love her to death.
Shout out to Mon, Mom.
I don't know if she's driving or if where she's going. She's going to Tucson today. Mon, Mom is on her way to Tucson. She may be there. I didn't get to check my phone before I came on stream to see if she made it yet. But last night we went to dinner. Chris did go with us. Yep. And as we're sitting at dinner, my mom, and she had mentioned it at the house that she wants me to paint a Bilbo Baggins for her. She wants a Bilbo. So I am going to find a Bilbo. I have found a Bilbo model, actually. On Etsy last night, I found a guy who has a Rankin Bass style Bilbo model that is at, the way he sells it normally is at 28 or 32 mil. And I said, can you make one that's 60 millimeters tall?
Oh, you
overall?
Hit him up.
And he said, yes. So we'll have a Bilbo that is fairly tall.
Okay.
Right.
Is he printing it for you?
We'll have a Bilbo that's kind of like this.
Bilbo, greatest little hobbit of
He's holding a pipe.
Yeah.
And he's got his other thumb tucked in his belt.
When did that cartoon come out, that movie? Was it like 1976?
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's the one where Gandalf just shows up out of nowhere when he smells the smoke.
Well, the Bakshi is Lord of the Rings. So Bakshi doesn't have Bilbo except for a minimal portion.
Oh.
Rankin Bass did The Hobbit, which is all Bilbo.
Yes. That's all Bilbo.
Right. So remember, you got to get those two straight.
Yes, the Bakshi version was amazing. The OG one says Wirehead. Good stuff, man. That'll be fun.
Yeah. But yeah, the Bakshi one is great. The orcs and stuff are great.
Yeah.
Where there's a whip, there's a way.
Yeah.
Well, they sang in it, right?
Yeah. Yes, they did. Skyer says, watched them recently. My wife just finished reading The Hobbit and never saw the old animated one.
It was, it was endearing. It was not great, but
it was definitely very, what is it called?
Smaug was really cool.
Yeah.
The Smaug animation is still bitching the way his X-ray vision, went over the gold and tried to find.
Back then, man, that animation.
I thought it was pretty cool.
Labor
As a kid,
of love.
I loved it. Yeah, we don't want to go to war today. Where there's a whip, there's a way. Yep.
Well, we're going to paint that at some point, right, Jason?
Yeah. Yeah, as soon as I can get this guy to commit and give me a price. I haven't checked my Etsy account today, so maybe he'll get back to me today. He was very responsive last night because it was like 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock when I found it. He's in the U.S., so it should get here quick. We'll do that, and we'll add that to the pile of I Gotta Paint.
You have a lot of Conquest.
The Dance Monkey Dance pile.
We have a lot of Conquest. We have a lot of Conquest, ladies and
Got
gentlemen.
a lot of Star Wars Legion we got to paint.
Yeah, you got to paint your army, Jason.
Hey, you need to settle down.
Come on,
Christopher.
man. We have another AMG stream.
Well, I figure what we'll do is we'll just have enough of Dallas on here that I'll get the army done while he's on stream.
That's the idea. That's the idea. You can go.
He's going to be so mad at me. He gets so mad at me. That's not Star Wars Legion.
That's on the 18th, by the way.
Oh, my God. Chris pulled a video of him doing the Tusken Raider roar.
That's coming up.
Jin came into the room and goes, were you yelling at me?
Oh,
were you yelling something across the house? I go, no. I was watching a video.
I had to reduce the EQ on that one.
Where Chris had Dallas screaming.
I'm so glad I had
like the nerd he is, because that was just so great. We had gone on and started talking about something completely different, and then he busted in after he did his theater warm-up. He was doing his me over here while we were talking about something completely irrelevant. And then he just busted out with a
Yep. And thank goodness I had a hard limiter on this.
Holy cow, did he absolutely skirt the red on that.
I know. In the Gen Con and the Adepticon Hall, I'm sure it's going to be fierce. What armies do you have for Conquest now, Jason?
Hoosiers, I have everything except Wadroon.
Which we're never going to get.
Never going to get.
We're going to get it.
Chris may get it.
I won't get it.
There might be a Wadroon army in the building. I will not. I will paint.
Jason will.
The Avatar of War. That's it. That's all.
The T-Rex.
That's it. Nope. Maybe the T-Rex.
You'll paint the T-Rex.
The T-Rex and the Avatar of War. That's it. That's all I will.
Yeah. Yes, Doghouse, that was some clipping. Yes, we did. But no, I will never clip. We can't go over -3 dB. It'll never...
You want to see dinosaurs? Loud. I have a dinosaur you'd love to watch me paint. It's the one from... I don't think it's Big Child.
Take it easy, Mo.
It was Terrible Kids stuff, right? I have the Terrible Kids stuff undead king on dinosaur.
I have no idea.
It's one of 150 ever produced. That's it. They did one run of 150, came in a neat wooden presentation box. I own one. They sent me one years ago.
I have no idea.
We have it. We started painting it, and unfortunately, we were painting it at like competition level, and unfortunately, a place where I had gap filled, when I put the primer on it, it shrunk. The clay shrunk.
Oh.
So I didn't notice it until we started painting it, and I had to stop painting it. I have to resculpt the area because there was a big gap in the leg on it. I had to sculpt, and because it's like a really well-sculpted dinosaur, it has like the chicken skin. So I had to sculpt the chicken skin in the leg. I have to go back and do all that again. And I was bummed, so I haven't done it in years. That's now, like 5 years ago.
What do you have against Wadroon?
What do I have against? I don't have anything against them. I usually, you know me, orcs are generally like one of the races that I typically get pulled to. I'm not a big fan. Okay, how should I say this? I think I have to word it properly and say that dinosaurs don't attract me to painting models. I don't care about dinosaurs. It's why you've never seen me paint the saurian lizard men type stuff. I just, lizards and dinosaurs don't do anything for me. I don't really care about them. Dragons, I love dragons, which are kind of dinosaurs. But for some reason, like just sticking something on a dinosaur doesn't do it for me. Rule of cool wise. It's not that I look at them and I say, oh, those are horrible. I think they're great models. They just don't do it for me.
Everybody's shaking their heads, Jason.
I know.
Why is Jason, he doesn't like pirates. He doesn't like dinosaurs.
I know, right? Look, Chet, I can be wrong every now and then, Avian. You don't know. You don't know. No orc muscle mommies for Jason. Oh, I mean, I like the idea of them. I haven't listened to the lore behind them. I don't like jungle vibes.
That's why.
So there's three pillars of things and I'll go a step further. There are three pillars of visuals that typically I will flip past them very quickly.
Okay.
Jungle looking stuff, right?
Okay.
With lots of feathers and palm fronds and things like that. Pirates and Vikings. Just not things that... It's not that I dislike them, I don't think. Because I'm fine looking at them. But when I see them, I don't ever go, ooh, what's about with that model? Like I never paint Space Wolves because I don't care, right? Pirates aren't a big thing for me. We painted that orc pirate, but that's because it was a cool orc.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The cheap bulk dinosaurs, yep. Well, you'll love this challenge this month, Appalachie. or Apache Blackhawk, Apache Blackhawk, because it's the this month's Discord challenge is Army Men.
Taking notes for what not to enter in the painting competition, Big Daddy. Oh,
no,
you enter
like I said,
you want.
I will, the visuals of them. I really like looking at other people's painting of those genres, pirates and whatever. It's just that if you were saying, hey, here's a catalog of models, pick a model you really want to paint.
Yeah.
If there was a model per page and I was just flipping through this catalog, if I saw anything that was like savage orcs, I just flip right past. Dinosaurs, flip right past.
Right.
Pirates, flip right past. Unless there's maybe something that sticks out to me. That's it.
You're not going to find Jason up in this Pirates of the Caribbean model.
What about Jungle Pirate Vikings riding dinosaurs? Yeah.
I mean,
that's probably the one thing that, maybe that one would make me be like, yeah, this is so absurd, I have to paint
Find us a model. Hey, Travel Cedric, 26 months. Thank you so much.
Maybe I would just have to paint it because it was so absurd. Who knows? Who knows?
You're absurd.
You're absurd,
you like that?
Sir.
You're absurd. You're out of order.
You're out of order.
Welcome in, everybody. We're here.
You're out of order.
I'm painting today.
You're not painting anything.
So nobody's painting.
I got way too much caffeine in me.
Let's go.
People are calling me grouchy.
Let's get that painting going.
I don't understand the grouchy thing. I am offended.
Jason doesn't get grouchy. He just has hard opinions.
I do. I'm not usually grouchy on stream, though.
No, that's what I'm saying.
My grouchiness is reserved for all these people after stream.
Jason doesn't get grouchy. He just wants you to not overcomplicate it.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
That's what
a lot of people overthink stuff. I like to keep stuff simple.
Jason,
I'm a lazy painter at art. Doesn't mean you have to do what I do.
Use a
but
brush.
I do take a very I've been doing this a long time. Doesn't mean everything I do is right, but it means that everything I do is thought out, generally. I have a plan or a way of doing things that I like. It doesn't mean I won't change it.
You have a plan?
No, that's why I changed that real quick. I don't really have a plan.
You don't ever have a plan?
I rarely ever have a plan. Okay, so this time though, I actually went and did a test of the color scheme at home before we did it on the model.
I was just about to say you did have a plan for this.
So I did plan a little bit.
Why did you do a plan for this one?
Oh, I don't know.
I know why.
Why? He doesn't know why. He's just making stuff up.
I know. I think you were doing it because you were going to test it with this guy anyway. I think you wanted to test it first, right? That's what I would assume.
I mean, that's what I just showed. That's what I did. What are you talking about?
That's the plan.
Oh my God. What are you talking about?
We're so off track. Hold. Welcome back, everybody. And by welcome back, where have you been? We're so glad you're here. If you are new to this stream, welcome in. We're so glad you fell upon us. Fallen did upon us. You like that?
That you happened upon us.
I hoping you hoplined into the streamin'. Thank you.
Whatever he says,
we're so glad
do the
you're
opposite.
Here. If you are new to miniature painting, get going. What are you doing? That's my one TED Talk for today. If you have any questions, please pitch them up so that I can ignore them.
Whoa.
Yeah, there you go.
How did we turn into this, Chris?
Because I said that because I knew people were like, wow, this is the question. Something like that. I don't know. We're so glad you're here.
I don't know what changed in him. He was being nice, chat. Now he's just off the rails.
This is the year of evil. What if I already did that yesterday? Brent. That's okay. Do it again. You should be painting every day. Isn't that right, Jason?
Every day.
I said, isn't that right, Jason?
Every day.
Lumberjack, he be doing that. GW, am I right, fellas? Lumberjack.
That was good.
That was for you, Lumberjack.
That was pretty good.
It's probably GW. Lumberjack's not a huge fan of GW.
That is Tim, though.
Hearts for Tim. Who hired this guy? That's a great question.
I think I did.
Yeah, you did.
After a long period of vetting the whole thing, too.
Vetting?
Yeah.
You didn't vet enough.
Not enough. Definitely not enough, but I did a lot.
Mr. President, we got him.
It's hard to vet somebody from the CIA.
That's right.
He's always changing his tune.
I have many fronts, chap.
Many what?
What?
Fronts?
Yeah, like
gold teeth?
presentations.
Like Tim?
Many
Tim's
faces,
got fronts.
Many I go by many names. The unaccessibly wealthy is one of them. No, that's Smaug's name. Smaug the Terrible. Hard to vet guys from the PGA too, says TK. Hey, whoa. Hey there. Oh there. I'm just glad Jason showed up today.
Excuse me? Were you worried?
No, I just wanted to get the reaction.
After that delicious chicken dinner?
That's true. I take it all back. Lumberjack says, my friend sent me a photo of a GW Space Marine with a flaming sword and asked me if I'd paint him. And I said, no way! There's so many kinds of that. Oh, hey. Lumberjack.
Never change.
Never change.
Don't go changing, Tim.
Since Chris got busted, turns state's evidence and joined the FBI, he's hard to track down. That's right. I was making fraudulent checks and wooing women and flying for free.
I saw this movie.
Frank! Merry Christmas, Frank! There you go.
What happened to Chris? Like 15 minutes ago, we didn't have this, Chris. What happened?
I'm sorry.
Are you on the caffeine too?
The caffeine.
Are you on the dope?
No. Sorry, I'll tune it down. We're painting. Welcome in.
Oh, here we go.
We're so glad you're here.
So, Chris.
So, Jason.
You're like the toddler.
What?
That when we go to the grocery store.
What?
You're like acting out. And so mom's like, you know what I need you to do is not be this right now. And so you go the opposite drama king way.
No.
And you just do, you just slouch.
No.
You know, and get all grumpy.
That's not me. That's not me.
That's
hey.
exactly what you just did.
Leafy Decays, 63, Party 63, welcome in, Raiders. Look at me, jovial Chris. Welcome in, Raiders. You guys rated at the perfect time because it's always the perfect time here at Monument Hobbies.
Oh, welcome.
We are so happy to be here. We're hyped on some kind of mango sweet tea something.
We're painting a consumption beast that barely fits in the screen. I'm highlighting it. Hi!
That's right. Welcome in, everybody.
Can I talk to you about your house insurance?
We're Monument Hobbies. Hey, Leafy Decays, thank you so much for that raid.
Welcome, everybody.
We're so glad you are here immediately in this stream. This has been great. I did have a coffee myself today. Gotta wind it down. Everybody calm down. We're painting.
Nobody else is whacked out.
We're not defusing bombs.
It's just you. You realize that, right? Like you say, everybody calm down, but it's just you.
You think so?
It's literally just you, Chris.
Lute says, is it public knowledge what hair is used in the Pro Sable brushes currently? My human hair. We trim my hair every day.
It is not Chris human hair.
We trim it every day. You guys get the best quality here at Monument Hobbies. That's why they cost $15,000 a brush. Jason, is it public knowledge what hair is used in the Pro Sable brushes currently?
Mostella Kalinsk, if you want the genus name.
Stella.
Commonly referred to.
Stella
as Kalinsky Sable.
I think my answer was better, but that's okay.
But it's not a sable, it's a weasel.
So that answer is no. We just told you. Siberian. No. Wolfen, I am a human man. Wolfen. That'd be very expensive. That'd be a very expensive brush for all of you. Start doing that. Just for you, Monument. Just for you hobby nerds out there,
Oh
we'll
my
give you some of
God.
Chris's hair. What if it turned out like, Lut says, I enjoy them. They're awesome. I'm glad you're enjoying them. But what if we figured it out, right?
Figured what out?
What if we were just like, hey, let's use our employees' hair for our brushes?
So
and they ended up being amazing.
No, this is even illegal to talk about.
What?
Yep.
Oh, I take it all back. Illegal?
You can't use human body stuff. It's like, hey, you know what I want to do is I want to make lamps. What if I were to start selling pillows? Hear me out, chat. What if I were to start selling pillows that were filled with human hair?
No.
What if we found out that was the most comfortable thing ever? Welcome to Chris, chat.
Welcome, everybody.
He's a paid professional, by the way.
Here for a long time, not a good time. Hey, Volton. Thank you so much for that sub. 22 months. We're painting a consumption beast. I almost said consumer beast. It's actually called a consumption beast from Conquest, the game.
Parabellum, the makers of Conquest, have been so nice to donate one of these. We'll be doing a giveaway this week.
That's
so
right.
You could win a consumption beast.
So if you're not familiar with us, if you're in from the raid, we do a giveaway. A giveaway? Wow. We do a giveaway every single week. And we announce it on our socials. So stay tuned to those. And that's when we'll tell you when we do it. Typically, it is whenever we want. Once a week. Happens every week. On the calendar.
Sign up for the giveaway. All we ask is your firstborn.
That's not true. Here's the giveaway information. It's right there.
How you doing over there, Chris? That was a big sigh.
I'm doing fine. How are you doing over there?
I feel like you're crashing or something.
I've never crashed in my entire life. Sorry, I'm adjusting the mic.
Got a lot going on.
We're so glad that everybody's here. And we're going to do a giveaway this week. So stay tuned for that. We haven't announced it yet, though. And it's not today. But you should stay and hang a while.
It's not today.
Not today, Zerg. Stan says, you can have my second or fourth born, but I can guarantee you'll send them back. Wow, Stan. Hopefully the family life is okay. That's hilarious. And please don't do that. Don't send us your children.
Are they of can perform labor age? I mean, we do have to make paint around here to survive.
That's true.
There's a world where all of chat's children could be the next wave.
The next wave
of Monument Hobbies paint manufacturing staff. You never know.
8 and 2. Stan, awesome.
We could become the people's paint.
That means many things. Careful.
Well, it's not like Soylent Green. That's not what I just said. Why are you on the human byproducts kick so much today? What's going on?
It's not intentional, I swear. New Monument Hobbies product. Watch your children and entertain them. Hey, we'll be a gold mine. We won't be babysitting kids anytime soon.
Oh my God.
Professional Monument Hobbies babysitters.
Can you imagine?
Licensed and insured. No, I can't. I won't do it.
We could turn the stream into a daycare. That's a hot topic right now. We probably shouldn't joke.
Monument Hobbies is no. On the comp you've linked. Oh, yes. Watt says, going back to the base layer conversation, on the comp you linked earlier, it mentioned entries can't be entered in another competition previously.
Right.
Is that going to carry over to the in-person comp, or is that just for the online comp?
We prefer, like all, that you do not bring things that have been entered before. The in-person competition at Adepticon, for those of you that are wondering, we're doing our first big experience center at Adepticon as part of our booth. We have 1,000 square foot at Adepticon, biggest booth we've ever done.
Huge
and
booth.
The Miniatures as Art celebration will be there for the first time. It's inaugural kickoff year.
Yep.
And we will have what we are currently referring to as the primer challenge, or the sneak.
The teaser.
The teaser challenge.
Yeah.
for a cup series of painting competitions we are going to be doing from here on out. And the first major competition will be at Adepticon 2027. So we're going to give you a year to do your best work for that. That will be a competition where the piece will have to be shown for the first time at our competition. We will not take repeats at the big one. 2027, we're giving you a year runway. There's no reason why you have to bring pieces you've painted elsewhere. We want you to bring your best work for this competition. You can use it anywhere you want to afterwards, but we prefer to have it be the first time you're showing it off. That's just good for the show. It's just something we want to see. Yeah. This year's a little bit different because it's not the full-blown competition. We only have a couple of months after announcing it, so I don't expect everybody to be able to put their best effort forward in just 2 months, start to finish. So for this year, you can bring whatever model you want. If you've got one, I mean, don't bring one you painted 12 years ago, but if you painted something in the recent 12 months, entered it in another competition, bring it. The prizes this year are going to be solely casual, fun stuff. There will be a cash prize for Judge's Choice, where all of us as judges, we have got a lot of guest artists in the booth. Chistov Kovalchev, Dan Osborne, myself, Mally will be there. Jordan will be there. We've got Lucas Zaba who will be there. We've got a bunch of big names in the booth this year that'll be doing little demos. We will have, I think, 6 demos minimum every day of the show. And from all of us. So you'll be up there painting. We've got screens, painting desks where you can come paint in the booth with us. And we'll be able to answer questions from artists. But all of us as judges will pick one central model that we all think is like the cream of the crop. And that'll have a cash prize attached to it. The rest of them are going to be fun. One of them that we're going to do is the best use of blue, right? Fun stuff like, imagine what we do in our challenges. This teaser challenge is going to be that. It's going to be bring something you really want us to look at as artists that you hopefully respect. Maybe some of them you look up to. Bring a piece you really want to show off. Put it in the case. We're going to have a lot of fun. You'll be able to get feedback from the judges that are there, some of the best painters in the world. You'll be able to talk to them and say, hey, on this model, what would you do? I want to be able to enter something next year in the Cup Challenge. What do I need to be able to do? And they'll give you good feedback on that. So it's going to be a really cool, casual, sit down, get feedback, have some fun stuff where each of the judges is going to pick their own favorite. Chris is going to pick the best tree. Is that the one you're sponsoring?
I don't know yet.
Okay. So far he said like best
that.
Tree.
I want best tree, but we also talked about we don't want to make it to like if there's one tree, you only get one, right? So it could be though. Best tree.
John Grammatica says your 6-year-old couldn't work at Monument because he's already better than you at painting. Why does that mean he can't work here? Have we ever thought about doing MonuCon? We have quite a bit. Yeah, Vince will be there, Lutz. Yep. Vince will be there.
And we'll have all that information.
Louise should be able to be swinging by the booth. We haven't got a confirmation from her yet, but there's a lot of people that'll be through the booth. Ben Comets is at the show. He'll be in the booth for some of the time.
We will have all of this information. Jason and I are writing that up.
Yeah.
So we'll make sure you all know that. In Discord, essentially, I'm going to start our...
We have a super group of players that are teaming up to bring this to you, too.
I'm going to set it up in Discord, the Adepticon.
Kissing booth, dunking booth.
The Adepticon.
All with Chris.
2026.
Don't mind the sore on his lip.
I don't know what to say.
I don't know what to say.
No kissing booth. Yeah, I'm sorry. Can't do that for y'all. But we will have all that information coming soon, and I'll also be putting that in the Discord. We're going to make an actual text thread in there for Adepticon 2026, which I will post all of that with the links once Jason and I do that. But here you are. We heard it here first.
Yeah, so round up your pieces, things you'd like to show off, put them in the case. There's going to be a limit. I think we're limiting it to 2 pieces per person for this first year.
2 pieces, you said?
2 pieces per person, yep. No more than 2 entries per person is the thing.
Kind of like our Discord challenge.
Yeah, it's very much like a monthly challenge.
Question. Can I ask a question? Absolutely. Is there a way to learn what color to use as an undertone for a main color? Like if I was looking at a color wheel, how would I go about deciding what to use?
So when you say main color, what is your intention with main color? Is that the main visual color, the main shadow? What are you wanting to learn?
An undertone for the main color.
Undertone for the main color. Yeah. So when you look at the color wheel, complementary colors can work very well. But also like tertiaries work great. Remember that for a undertone, a lot of times you'll go darker, right? Because, we think of it in terms of layers. The deeper layers on the model tend to be darker because they tend to follow where shadows go. So if that's the case, then, you have green and red on the color wheel. If you were to take like a dark green and put it under red, that can work. A dark red under green, like what you have here, right? Dark reds under greens are a great way to do it. I'm a big fan of dark purple under everything because it is both in the family of reds and in the family of blues as a purple. And that allows you to run the gamut of colors. I always joke that you put dark purple under everything except purple, because if you stay in a hue-centric triad, we'll call it, where you have dark purple, mid-purple, light purple, things look flat and cartoony. It's not that that's bad if that's what you're looking for, but in a lot of cases when you're painting things from the real world, they don't adhere to what we consider to be triads in the painting world. They're just an easy way to make sure you get a dark color, mid-tone, and a bright color in a color family. But if you were to put dark purple under purple, it's just flat. But if you put dark purple in blues, reds, greens, browns, yellows, whatever else, then it brings the whole model to life. So there are some neat, I won't say hard, fast rules, because that's not how art works. But when looking at the color wheel, look at if you have a color wheel that if you want to buy a color wheel that works, and this is coming from somebody who is self-taught. I did not go to school for art. Everything I've learned from people who are willing to share tidbits of info and who, showed me stuff face to face, and I would take that and just start practicing and run into my own happy little accidents, if you want to call them that, and come up with what I believe is a fun way to paint and gives you a good look. But if you want, the color wheel can be a very good tool. Buy one that has the cover on it, and I forget what they are. There's the Mars wheel. There's all sorts of color wheels out there. But buy one that has a rotating cover on it, and that rotating cover has little windows in it, and you rotate it, your primary color to the color you want, and it goes around the wheel, and you go to green. And then the other windows will show you secondaries, tertiaries, and complementaries. And out of those three windows, you find the colors that work very well with the color that you set as a primary. So the ones to either side as secondaries and tertiaries, and the one completely across of it as a complementary. And then just pick one of those to darken up and go underneath it. And that's your undertone. That's the simplest way to say it. That's kind of mathematical, if you want to call it that way. You'll never go wrong doing that. You may find yourself, depending on what kind of vision you're going for, that complementaries may change the way your vision looks, because sometimes the complementary color is a different temperature color, right? And so when you put it underneath them, now you're playing with some artistic depth that might change your vision of the project. If you're coming out of like, hey, dark brown, mid brown, light brown really work well. Well, as soon as you look at the complementary for oranges and yellows and you start saying, oh, I don't know if I want to put that underneath yellow, that's going to look really weird. It may not give you the feel that you want, because it's like this, right? It's like painting back out some.
Yeah.
It's like having, red oxide as a shadow color underneath all of this jade, green, and yellow, right? Mm-hmm. So that causes a model to look very different than when you just do, this is a bad example because I still have dark purple and stuff underneath the red, right? But it looks like, dark red, mid red, bright red, the way I've done the cloak.
Yeah.
Right. So this kind of is more tone on tone, even though it is dark purple and red oxide underneath it. It doesn't show as much as being two different hues or multiple different hues. It just looks like a dark red shadow because I filtered everything over it. But you can be very abrupt. You can do like that with filters. You can do stuff like this where we've done the royal purple underneath the greens and the browns, right? When doing a creature that is just a wood construct. Right? But using purple shows you how you can still get really neat depth when using things like brown. Brown and purple, not the first thing that pop in your mind as being a color combo anybody cares about. As a matter of fact, it might be like,
Yeah.
But when you put it on the model and you desaturate it and you filter over it, it works like a champ.
There you go.
That's why I say royal purple, dark blue, royal plum, or dark plum. If you're talking about Prochrome colors. Those four colors, you've got every color you ever need underneath anything. until you start painting a lot of yellows like Imperial Fist, and then you start moving into like burnt sienna, burnt orange, right? Those colors work really great. Some of the dark browns. Yellow is a fun color to play with. Even dark greens work great under yellow. So you open up your mind to using a bunch of really fun stuff when you start thinking that way.
I gotta use the restroom. I'll be right back. Sorry.
Chris has to pee. Didn't your mom tell you? He's walking down the hall going, didn't your mother tell you? He's, you can hear him all the way into the toilet. He's yip-yapping, chat. Okay, everybody. In chat, type your best Chris joke. Ready? Go. So that when he gets back, he can read them all. Gold, chocolate brown, and purple is the color scheme I plan to use on your Trench Crusade. Nice. From a caramel bar? Oh, that's nice. Yeah, you know what? When you start looking in the world around you at colors that other people have used in marketing packages and stuff like that, you can really open up your mind. A lot of those places can get really creative. Chris joke, hardly knew her. That's a good one. Chris and the Mixer. Ah, Striker. That one hits. I love it. How many Chris's does it take to change a light bulb? We'll never know because he doesn't read chat.
Who said that?
I don't know why, but all of a sudden there's a lot of Chris jokes in chat.
What? What are you talking about? You're all fired. You're all Tony. You're done. Banned. I read chat. Right in front of my face.
Some would say he has a 93-year-old bladder.
All right.
I mean, only Spotify.
Take it easy.
Only Spotify.
Everybody calm down. I do have a band mix. I have a band power.
I'll unban you, chat.
No, he won't.
I got you.
No. I've banned Jason.
Wait, what?
That's kind of like I don't know how that doesn't compute.
Did you just say you're going to try to ban me?
Jason, I ordered on the Weaver Quartz models. Okay, Oberon models. Have you thought about how you would paint yours? Oberon? Weaver and Quartz Oberon?
What's that?
Let's look at them.
I don't know them all by name.
We don't know them by name.
I messaged Daryl yesterday from Parabellum and said he needed to come on the stream.
Yeah, it would be cool.
See if he joins in, if he jumps in chat at all while we're painting this thing. I sent him some of the prelim pictures from yesterday.
Daryl, where are you?
Daryl, are you in the stream and you have a name we don't know? Oh, now he won't. Now he won't let us know, though. He won't.
Hey, are you there, Daryl? I said, Daryl, are you there? Let's see. Models are those. Seeing those.
It's probably an individual. I don't know, Oberon. Big bug guy holding a star above his head, limited run. It's one of the season models, right? Yeah, I have that one. It's a great model. I don't know. Is that the one that's in the picture in all like bright spring or fall colors?
Man, I don't know.
I wasn't asking you. I wasn't asking you, Chris.
Hey, man, I don't know. It might be.
That's a great answer that you always give for things you have no knowledge on.
That's why I say it might be.
Might be. Might also not be.
Might not also be. Who knows?
Somebody does.
Time will tell.
Just not you.
Hey, guys, sorry if you answered this yesterday, but what paints would you recommend for a non-metallic brass?
Asking you, Chris, because you're the guy.
Oh, I don't answer these questions. I don't do non-metallic brass.
We answered this a couple days ago, and we said that if you Google brass versus bronze, or brass versus gold, right? you'll end up with a picture or something in Google that shows 3 squares. And those 3 squares show that gold and brass are very similar, other than the green undertones in brass and the warmer orange kind of palette that gold takes you into. So I would say that think of brass from a non-metallic metal color exactly like gold, but either you go in with a green filter at the end, or you start with greens underneath it. You'll see me do my golds that way, and I always say this is really brass, but it looks better than orange in my opinion. I don't like really overly warm golds. They make me think of fake necklaces. So I tend to stay away from lots of warm gold.
Yeah.
And I like green undertones to make it cooler. You look at Flame On's set, and Flame On Mashik with his has what he calls cool gold, because it starts with like the orange brown, green brown, those colors. That the brown takes the edge off the heat of a normal orange undertone, but still makes it look more gold than brass. When you go to green, you put yourself firmly into the realm of brass. That's the thing. Other than that, gold, same colors. Just change your undertone to a little bit more of a greenish, brown, dark yellow green, something like that. You're off to the races.
Oberon is the one spring colors in their box green with purple/pink accents on the wings.
Yeah.
His head's on fire.
I mean, I like the bright colors they did it in. Lots of yellows. Right?
I think so. You have Oberon?
I do. It's at the house. I took it home to do the build on it so I could have to paint. It's a really cool model. Very bug-like, if I'm thinking the right one. I think they've only produced one of the seasonal avatars. Maybe 2. Maybe there was a winter one.
Danger Muffin says a good non-metallic copper is so hard.
If you get good at filtering reds over oranges and flesh tones, it's really not. It really, you got to think about copper as being more of a flesh tone workup.
Yeah.
Browns, oranges, and peaches, right? Which flesh tone for the peach. And then being able to play around with something like a burnt red filter over it at the end to get that reddishness of the copper back.
Right.
And then you can play with verdigris and stuff like that too.
It's technically, Jason, pronounced verdigris.
I need more caffeine for this. It's weird that there's a big slice of lemon in there and mango.
Why?
Citrus and mango is weird.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, I think that would be a delicious combination.
It's weird. It like sucks all the moisture out of your tongue. It makes your tongue feel dry.
Interesting.
Very weird.
Chris trying to get fired again today, every day. How would you recommend red true metallic metal? Oh, okay. Courtesy of T. Schmid.
Red true metallic?
Yeah, if you're into that.
So with any true metallic in a coloring, you can glaze the color over the metallic, or better yet, glaze something like our metallic medium over your red. You can also mix in like red transparent into the metallic medium and create a red paint, so you can mix colors together. But glazing tends to give you really good results. Glazing the transparent over the metallic, or like I said, paint your red the way you want the red to be, and then glaze a metallic, which our metallic medium is basically a non-colored metallic. So you can glaze it over the top. It will brighten it up. It looks milky when it comes out of the bottle. It's not really, but the metallic flake itself will brighten up your color. But if you paint a base of red, glaze the metallic over the top, you'll get metallic red, and then you can glaze the red back over the top of that very thinly to knock down some of the brightness. You can glaze metallic medium, 100%. Yeah. Want to see it? Want to see it?
I guess so.
If you're into that sort of thing, here we go.
I didn't say that.
Here we
That
go.
was all
Do I have
you.
anything I've painted real red lately that isn't a... Oh, you know what? Oh, no. Maybe?
What's that?
Well, I have some of the Blood Angels that I don't plan on using anymore, but I'm not going to do those.
You said you wanted red armor?
If I had something. I have this model that I stepped on that shattered into a million pieces, which is a real bummer. Could do that. Well, I just didn't want to have to paint the red, because if I have a dry red... Here, I'm going to just use this guy. I have a backpack that's already painted on this guy. This guy fell on the floor, and then I stepped on him, so he's useless now. Unfortunately, he got blowed up.
Armor.
Lieutenant Dan, you got blowed up, sir.
Okay, so what are you showing us here, Jason?
We're going to glaze metallic medium over this red. If I can has... Oh, I had my hand on it. Metallic medium. It looks white. It's not. It's colorless. But the shine of the metal flake in it will act as a tint because it's colorless metal, or, you know, mica. That's kind of like a pearlescent color, the way mica is when it doesn't have other pigment in it. So you will find that it has a milky kind of a coloring. So we're just going to do the top of this backpack. Going closer?
Yeah. Second. Let me zoom in and there we go. How's that
about
feel?
like that?
Yep.
Okay, so again, just like I would glaze anything, a full brush of water, grab a little tail of metallic medium out, just like it was any other paint on the planet. Right? Then, booyah. Wipe some off, and then we'll just glaze that right over the top.
I see. Okay.
Right? And I put my finger right in it, too. Of course, smart guy. Do the demo, mess the demo up immediately. That's great.
I didn't even notice.
I noticed only because I got metallic medium all over my finger. I was trying to go for the shoulder pad here.
Now, can you explain the consistency you're using here? Just a little bit of water?
No, a ton. I mean, it's a whole brush load of water.
Oh, I guess it's true.
You know, like anything you want to do a very, very thin glaze with, just thin it down, but...
Shiny.
Treat it like any paint. Wick it off your brush on your thumb palette or a paper towel or whatever you got. And it's that easy. You can get, you know, a metallic sheen. I didn't do the shadows over here. I guess I should do that so it doesn't have a line in it like that.
Perfect. Nice.
And then as it dries, you get the metal flake on there. The metal flake might be spread depending on if you over thin it.
Yeah.
So you can come back and re-wet, get more on there if you want. Do a second layer and really build it up. But notice how it's still allowing all of our highlight to show through, just like a you know, any regular glaze would want to. Leave the undercoat doing its job. You can just keep going until you're happy.
Nice.
You can do that over any color, and then once it dries, glaze whatever your mid-tone color was, in this case pyro red or orange red, and glaze it back over the top. And it will allow you to gain as much. You can overdo the metallic sheen on this, and then you can glaze the red back over the top to lock it down. So you get rid of some of, like I said, this is just mica flake that's kind of pearlescent, what they call colorless, but it will have a tint to it, right? It has a brightness to it. So, and because the pigment isn't sitting right next to it, it's sitting over the pigment, you will get that graying as you build up more. But it is still, like, if you shade from the reflection, it is still showing all your red through it, right? It's not actually turning the model silver.
Yeah.
Right? But when it reflects like that, it will get rid of some of the hue, depending on how the light's reflecting back. And then you can glaze the red over the top of that once it's dry. If I do it right now, it'll tear it all up because it's still wet. But
yeah, because it still needs to dry.
Yeah.
Nice. There you go. Dan, yeah, I think you just answered your question. Metallic medium, is the metallic medium the acrylic medium and a tone of mica flakes? Yep.
But yeah, you can glaze the metallic medium.
There you go.
Mix paint with the metallic medium. The transparents with the metallic medium really give you, like, maybe in that case, let's try something. Now you got me thinking. Because like this, what you might want to do is take like it's going to change the red of the model when we do it this way. But let's take a little bit of metallic medium, right? We always show painting with the mix. Yeah. I usually paint my fingernails, right?
Yeah.
Well, let's take a little bit of metallic medium.
Right.
Let's take some red transparent.
Okay.
Right. And this will give us kind of a magenta glaze, but it will have a lot of metallic in it. And then all of a sudden, I guess if we even add some glazed wash medium, let's just do that to make this super simple. Right? If you're not comfortable with water. So I've got, I don't know, 1-to-1 metallic medium to paint, and then I'll just add in 4 drops of glazed wash as well.
Yeah.
And then maybe just a dash of water to give it some flow. So 1-to-1 maybe. Might have been heavy on the water. I don't know.
Ooh.
This is the way I teach you to, when you want to mix a metallic, right? You just mix this up. And now you've got a colored metallic. You're using the transparent so that it doesn't get rid of too much of the shine of the metal flake. And that's actually got quite a bit. I'm going to add some more metallic medium in that just to make sure for what we're doing. Because it's pretty watery too. Like I said, because I didn't use the transparent red on these models, this will alter the red because it's a new red that I'm putting in it, right?
Right.
I rolled my brush through the metallic medium on the palette, so I don't want to do that and then go back and paint our model and get metallic medium all over it. Right.
You put a little bit more in there.
I put about double. So 2 to 1-to-1, right? 2 parts metallic medium, 1 part color, 1 part water, 1 part glaze wash. Now I've got a lot of shine. I don't know how the camera will pick it up there.
Yeah.
Right? Looks like a fingernail polish. So metallic medium is one of the most amazing things when you like painting with a lot of true metallic surfaces because you can add it to whatever color you want.
Super versatile.
Now when we glaze with this, we'll get more metallic on there. We'll put it right over the same spot and see what we get.
I zoomed back in for you, Jason.
Okay. Like lipstick hot pink.
Can you come up a little?
Not until I get done mixing my paint. But yes. Okay. So now when we go over this, we've got some red in there, which when we glaze that over the base of red that we've got should bring back, see, now it brings back that red.
Interesting.
And that metallic.
Yeah.
So had we just started with this, that would have been much better over an already painted surface because it's going to accentuate the red that we had.
Yeah.
Right? Rather than kind of graying out at first. but you could paint the base in a bright red and then glaze the red over it. I wouldn't rely on this to turn the model red, because as you're glazing, of course, you're not going to boost the vibrancy of the color very much, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden you don't have to do anything else. So I like that a lot. Then and I'm just using a damp brush now. I'm not adding as much water, just kind of dipping it into the thing and then taking the paint off on my finger here.
Yeah.
But now if we were to go with that right over the shoulder plate here where we haven't done the metallic at first.
Oh, yeah.
See, we still capture all the shadows and everything.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
That's pretty cool.
Much better when you don't do the metallic medium first and then glaze this over it, because this is a lot more color. But I think that's really cool. This would be great for like Thousand Suns or something, where you wanted that kind of ruby red color.
Yeah, and the ratio again was 2 to 1 to 1?
This was, I would say that this is 2 parts metallic medium to 1 part color, whatever transparent color you're putting in.
Yeah.
1 part glaze wash, 1 part water in my situation.
Could you use a normal paint with this instead of transparents?
You would use less color then, or more metallic medium, because the opacity of a normal paint is going to overtake the metallic finish more. The transparents are the way to go. That's why I'm saying if you're using it as a filter, the metallics, I think, are the way to think about this. We always say that mixing the metallics with the transparents with the metallic medium is the best way to go.
Right.
So in this case, you paint your model red.
Yeah.
Then you go back over it with a glaze that has some red in there. And if you want it to be like fire engine red, mix some transparent yellow with the transparent red before you put it in here. Because then when it goes over the top of the red, it would be even redder. This is a cool kind of ruby.
That's really cool.
Ruby red. And then it's got that sheen to it of the metallic. As opposed to this one's a little bit more gray on the top because of the metallic medium we put on first.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can, just like a glaze, you can layer this up however many times you want, right? You want more shine to it, put another coat on.
That's really cool. That's cool.
Right? So we can just keep doing it. Yeah, you see me glaze with metallics all the time. We just had a recent video where we did it to show you the sooner you can stop treating your metallic paints like they're something special, the quicker you can get way more out of them. They're just acrylic paints. They just happen to have an extra solid in them in the form of the mica flake or aluminum, depending on what kind of metallics you're using. That gives us a kind of a cool ruby because of the magenta in it.
Yeah, that's super cool.
That'd be a really quick way to... You could airbrush this on the whole model. Since we're trying to cover everything, you could airbrush filter this on the model.
Yeah.
No reason why not to. That works pretty good.
Hey, that was great. Thanks, Jason.
You're very welcome, Christopher. You can use your good brushes with metallics. That's also a wives' tale based on laziness. So I'll say that we're lazy as artists. You know me, I don't clean my brushes near enough. So if you use metallics a lot, using your best brushes will cause you problems if you're lazy like I am and you don't clean your brushes enough. If you do what you're supposed to and you clean your brushes after every session, then you can use whatever brush you want. And that allows you to then open up metallics into using for, better detail brushes and things like that. I don't know when you're painting metallics that you need a ton of detail brush, but maybe you are. It makes you think differently. If you wash your brush, no problem at all. It's when you are lazy like we are with our normal acrylics that those extra solids of the mica or aluminum flake that get down in the ferrule, when that dries, that's a lot harder to get out and it causes a lot more havoc on your brushes. So, yeah. It's not that it's a placebo. It's just that clean your brushes and you can use any brush you want. It's not going to harm your brush if you clean your brush regularly, is the way to say that.
Instinct, what's the best brand of contrast paints you guys prefer?
Aha! I don't use any. We manufacture paint. We manufacture Pro-Acryl.
Yep.
So we are Monument Hobbies. We make paint. We have only now recently announced our own answer to contrast, I'll call it. Because it does so much more. I'm not a fan of them as a paint manufacturer.
Yeah. Because
they are not great paints in the sense of the word. They do a great job at what they do, but they're not the best paints. And so in that regard, we've been working for years to try to figure out what we could do to have a paint that would satisfy people's need for something that gives very quick contrast and coloring on a model. And we've just recently revealed it on stream within the last few months. I've been painting a lot of models. You'll see some of it on this model. I plan to use some of the black on this model, I think. We'll do some fun stuff, but yeah. As of Adepticon this year, my answer will be hours.
Sugar Rush, we haven't announced the name yet.
Speaking of glazing, I'm glazing this pink on here just so I can get some texture built up on the big tongue surface.
The one and only PMS says, I'm painting a model with pale skin, and so far it doesn't have enough contrast. I already have purple undertone and midtones I want. Do you have any advice on adding contrast without necessarily going brighter?
Could you put a wash, a filter on it?
Maybe.
And then redo your highlights? You know, a filter is easier to do when you can go back over your highlights again rather than having to, you know, do it all in the recesses. But you could also just go and filter in the recesses with a glaze of a color, a darker color, Payne's Gray, darker purple, whatever you got that you want to use.
Ooh, Rocket Chicken TV, 100 months.
Thank you.
Wow. That's a lot of months.
I'm quickly squibbing and stippling the brush around because we have a tongue with bumpy surface. So you can get away with murder on texture here. And you can do that with a thin down paint so that it blends in as you're doing it.
100 months.
It's a lot of months.
That's a lot
Didn't
of
we
months.
have a 250 earlier?
No. That was a stream streak of 270.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, no, it was a stream streak. What's going on, Ghost Hunter? Lap says, since I'm getting so fond of your paints, I'm trying to get used to glass palette rather than the wet one, and it's much harder than I expected. Any tips and tricks? Would you have a glass palette 101 somewhere on YouTube or on your website, maybe?
Have you ever put up any of the don't spread your paint thin?
We have, but we've never done, like, we talk about it so often that we probably talk about this 3 times a week, right?
Number one, I want to make sure that you understand that a wet palette works great with our paints.
Yeah.
So don't feel like you have to use a glass palette or a dry palette just because I do. I just don't prefer a wet palette. They don't add much to my workflow for the amount of hassle they cause me, right? They just don't. I mix a lot, but I'm so used to the way that I mix that a wet palette doesn't really give me enough benefit to say, oh, you know what? I'm just going to use that all the time. Because here in dry climates like Arizona, a wet palette dries out all the time. The page curls. I have to do all sorts of crazy things to stop and refill it, and I'm just lazy. I don't want to do that. So that's why I use a dry palette. It doesn't mean the wet palette is bad, and tons of painters use wet palette to great effect. The people that complain about a wet palette with our paints are typically people that overwet their wet palette. Their wet palette has become a tool for diluting their paints, not just to sit their paints on. Our paints don't need to be diluted to just work. Whereas a lot of hobby paints come out so thick that if you don't dilute them first, they leave a lot of brush strokes and texture on your model, which you don't want. So a lot of people get benefit out of a wet palette because it just dilutes the hobby paints they're using.
Yeah.
Makes those paints more usable straight out of the gate. You don't need a thick paint to have a good paint. That's a misnomer, right? A lot of people use thicker mediums because thicker mediums suspend a lot of pigment in them easier. The magic of Pro Acryl, our paint, is that you can suspend more pigment than thick mediums do in a very thin medium.
Yeah.
That's what we've been able to do with our paints that makes them so different feeling. They feel what I call lightweight, right? Like a softer body paint. They just glide on easier. They work right out of the pot, and you don't have to thin them if you don't want to. But because of that, that's bred by a need to have painting be lazier. I just want to put paint on the model. I don't want to spend a lot of time on the palette having to get the paint ready.
Yeah.
Right? And so for me, that's how I built the paints. If you are using a wet palette and it's overly wet, so it's diluting your paints, it's actually going to have an adverse effect on lighter weight paints. right? Because it's going to start floating them in water. The pigment will start separating. You have to stir them up. And now you have a lot of things in your process that you don't like doing. So if you can continue to use your wet palette and just run it to where the top surface of the paper is always dry, it's wet on the underside, then the wet palette will work wonders for you. It'll keep mixes going longer. It'll give you more ability to dilute easier when you need to. But it won't just constantly dilute the paint as aggressively as if you have water on the top of the page. I've seen people add water to their wet palette where they literally just squirt water onto the top of the paper. That defeats the whole purpose of using a wet palette. By name, it should be called something different. Has been the thing I've said for years. They shouldn't call it a wet palette because it makes people think it needs to be wet, which is not the case. It should be wet underneath. So it should be called a wet bottom palette. Maybe.
Monument Hobbies comes out with the wet bottom palette.
Wait. I like wet bottoms and I cannot lie. Sorry.
That's patent pending, by the way.
Sorry.
If you see anybody from now into the future come out with a wet bottom palette, tell them they are a liar. Wow. I'm very happy. This is a family show, says Little Billy. Yes. I like a soapy bottom.
The loots, yeah. I mean, I tried to attack the hobby painting world with a paint that was easier to use so you could get straight to painting. And it is bred 100% of impatience and laziness on my part. I do not want to take the limited time I have to paint. Even today, when I get to paint 2 hours a day, which to you guys might seem like a lot, sometimes in a week with all the work that we do, that might be the only time I get to paint.
Yeah.
And even with my home studio now, there's nights where I'm so beat up by the time I get home. Like last night, I was like, for the first time in weeks, I don't feel like I'm even going to go question whether or not I want a hobby. I sat down on my computer and played a video game. I just didn't want to think about anything other than mindless killing. And so now I'm on a list. Thanks. Great.
Mindless killing.
Mindless killing. But, you know, if you have limited time, when you sit down and take all your stuff out, whether you've got a desk filled with it or not, or you got to clean off your surface to paint, when you sit down to paint, you need your paint to work for you, not for you to have to work for your paint, period. That's why Pro Acryl exists. Pro Acryl is a paint you don't have to work at to get it to work. It just works right out of the bottle. Put it on the palette, boom, paint. You're putting color on models in your limited amount of time that makes you feel better. That's why I made the paint the way it is. That's why we keep it the way it is. We're not trying to do anything that causes you to have to become a scientist on how to thin. That's why when people come in and say, what consistency do I need to airbrush? And I go, you squirt it in the brush and you spray it. You know, not that we make our paints directly for airbrush. That has a lot of dependencies in it. But that's why, like Chris said earlier, we just try to get it to where you don't have to overthink it.
Yep.
You can literally get back to just feeling good about painting. Put the paint down, put the paint on the model. It's going to lay down right for you. Then you can get complicated with it as you need. You can thin the crap out of it and glaze with it. You can mix like we did with a metallic medium. You can do whatever you need to with Pro Acryl. But as a starting point, if you just want to sit down and put color on the model, just sit down and put color on the model. Don't worry about what palette you're using. Don't worry about what brush you have to use. Don't worry about how you thin it. Just put it on the model.
There you go. That's all you need to know. Jason,
awesome loots, thank you.
It's 4 o'clock almost.
What?
3:57.
You and I need to have a talk.
What do you mean? That's
about
what
this
the
whole
time
time
is.
thing.
I
feel like there's a time slippage. A slippage.
A time slippage?
That only happens when I'm painting on stream. Because I never get enough time with my friends on the internet.
You're having a good time. Right?
I'm going to keep going.
You're going to keep going?
Yeah.
I do have to go, unfortunately.
Well, I'm going to keep going for a little bit. Is Jen still here? This is one of those evenings where I have to ask Jen. She's in control because she's going to tell me what we want for dinner. Because I didn't eat lunch. I haven't even finished the bag of sponsored by Doritos.
We are not sponsored by Doritos.
That I got. So I didn't even finish the bag. It still has Doritos in the bag.
This episode is brought to you by...
Doritos!
Not Doritos.
Nacho cheese Doritos. It's coming up on the Super Bowl. I asked Chris if I should show some cleavage in Doritos on the stream and maybe we get a sponsorship. He said no.
We could ask.
He said no.
We could ask.
She's not going to say boiled rabbit again.
Jen, where are you?
But yeah, as far as a glass palette and using it, any dry palette, the glass palette to me is no different than a paper palette. I, again, just don't overthink it. I like the glass. It's bred of laziness and non-waste. It's actually not bred of laziness. Laziness is the paper palette because I can just wad it up, throw it away. You have to clean this. But I hired a Chris, and now I don't have to clean it anymore, so it's bred of Chris is my laziness incarnate. Don't overthink it, Chris.
Is that a compliment?
So
I'll take it as a compliment.
But any dry palette, I've used Gray Matters paper palette that I travel with, and so the gray is the big thing that I love on these because the palette itself gives you a neutral background tone, so all of your colors look exactly the way they will on the model. Whereas just whatever you do, don't get white. White palettes, when you put them down, your color looks darker than it is when you paint with it, right? Because white, pure white next to any color will make that color look darker. So I hate white palettes. First thing, I don't care if it's wet, dry, or whatever, don't. Like if you're painting on a white tile, stop, go get a gray tile or a earth tone tile or something like that. The more yellowy earth tones you get, the more it makes your eye visually shift the color that's on the palette too. So a neutral gray is great. That's why I love this particular palette. It's on Amazon for $28 or something like that. And they have bigger ones. I think you have the bigger one, don't you?
No, I have the
Phil.
same one.
Phil has like the 12 by 17. They make this in 12 by 17. It's insane.
Right over it. It's like his hobby mat.
Yeah.
I use the little well tin.
Yeah.
The glass palette too.
But as far as using one, put less paint out more often because this will not keep your paints wet. They will start drying just like if you put them on any dry surface. It won't cause them to dry any quicker. The thing that you want to make sure of is when you put paint out, and I'll waste some paint here just to show you. Because this is one of the worst things you learn or can pick up as a habit from watching YouTube videos, right? There are very few things that I consider to be bad on painting tutorials because every painting tutorial has something really great to learn from it, I feel, right? Even if it's watching a mistake. But on people with their palettes, you'll see a lot of people go in and mix color, and they will put a drop out, and then they will just do this, right? And then now they have paint on their brush, and they go paint with it. Don't ever do that. You have now dried all that paint up because you thinned it out thickness-wise. You spread it out, so now it's really thin over a broad area that touches air, and everywhere paint touches air, surface area-wise, it starts to evaporate, and you lose it. So when you do this, and you see people on YouTube do this all the time, they spread a big puddle of paint out. It's a waste, number one. Don't ever do it, right? And you'll be fine. You'll never see me do this. All you'll see me do is pull paint down in a tail like this metallic medium down here if I were glazing with this. This is that same drop of paint that I put out a while ago. Look at it. It's still wet. I can still use that 100%. If I were to spread it out like this, count to 10, that won't be usable anymore, right? But I can continually take a little bit of water, pull out a tail of this metallic medium and use it down here where I'm spreading it out thin now to get it diluted properly, but I can always go back to the droplet and pull out more paint. So you'll see this is the way my palette looks. Big dollop of paint here that never changes. Pull it down here and turn it into what you need. Don't paint with this unless you're doing like an edge highlight. You need pure paint. You'll see me do that. I'll just come up and dip my, paintbrush in it a little bit, go back and get it right, and then paint with it straight out of the bottle, basically. But in most cases, you're finding me bringing it down here and turning it into what I need. Some lowered opacity, and then paint with that. So spread it out down here, go back to the drop. Don't ever spread the whole droplet out, because already I can guarantee you that just in the time it took me to say that, this paint is unusable. Look at that. I have to swipe it away, and that's going to have solid chunks in it. This paint, barely usable at all, right? This paint up here is still pretty good. Not really. It's already starting to dry.
Don't spread it, is what you're saying.
Starting to flake.
Yeah.
Whereas after all the time since doing the metallic thing, I can pick this paint up in a blob, right? Look at that.
Yeah.
Right? And then I can put it back down and paint with it. So, that's been sitting there that whole time. This I wouldn't be able to use in another 30 seconds, 45 seconds. So that's the biggest thing I have to tell you. Put your paint in a little droplet. Like you see all my paint here is a droplet with a tail pulled out of it occasionally. It's these weird shapes. So I put the droplet down and then I pull a little bit of paint out. Put the droplet down, pull a little paint out. Put the droplet down, pull a little paint out. And that's my whole palette will look like this. It'll all have that directionality to it. It looks like little comets. Very rarely will you see this unless I've made a big puddle of wash that I've thinned out or a big puddle of glaze that I've thinned out that I just need to use once. That's the only trick. Literally, that's the only trick. Less paint and change it when you need to. Don't put out a big droplet of paint because the timer starts clicking on everything that you've put out on the palette. So put out a small droplet, right? Use it while it's good, and when it dries up or is gone and you've used it all, pull out another drop. So
there you go.
Much easier than putting more water in your wet palette and dealing with curled edges and all that kind of stuff, in my opinion.
There you go. Jen said they're making burritos. She's making burritos.
What? Making burritos?
Jen, I'm making burritos for dinner, she says.
fantastic.
Are you going long?
I'm excited about burritos. No, I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna keep painting.
Oh, you're gonna keep painting.
Yeah, I'll keep painting.
Okay. Chat.
Because she probably won't want to eat till 6. She'll tell me.
Chat. Chris has got to go.
Bye, Chris.
I'm here. I have to go.
You're talking about yourself in third person.
I have to go.
Chris has to do things.
I do have to do things. I'm staying later because I've got
Oh, here we go. He's not leaving.
A group, but I do have to do some work. Chat, it's been a pleasure.
How do you wash the tile? Yeah, sponge and warm water. A little bit of soap, maybe. Careful with soap on porous surfaces, though. The glass.
The glass works great.
The glass is great because the ceramic tiles that are glazed ceramic work great. Don't get the ones that are porous, like sandstone or something.
Soak it up,
because they soak the soap up, and the soap will stay in the sandstone, and then it'll come out in your paint. So don't do that. But
okay, chat. It's been real, Jason. It's been an honor and a privilege.
Fantastic. I'm glad you think so.
Hey, everybody, take it easy.
It's his tone.
It is my.
I
don't think so, Mr.
Chris, it's your tone.
Mr. Tones McGee. Giving you your little buttons there, you.
I'm Tones McGurk.
Tones McGurk. You're something.
Oh, wow.
Tones McGurk, he says.
Chad, if any of you have a Chris in your life, get an intervention.
What? I'm all right. Just okay. That's it. Just okay.
No free pub.
No free pub for me.
No free pub for me.
No free pub for me. Heck no. Hey, everybody. I'll put these links up before Jason leaves. Here you go. Kablammer. I just drew a brain fart. There we go. FLGS. And then, hey, we got this over here for you, too. Hey, also, we got a Discord of massive debauchery. And here we got this.
There's no debauchery. There's a little debauchery. Not much.
Goodbye, chat.
Christopher,
Everybody have a
thank
great
you.
Day.
Thank you for all you do, Chris. Except that one thing. Don't do that anymore.
Don't do that one thing anymore?
Yeah. Most of what you do is good, except that one thing.
What's the one thing?
Well, if I have to tell you, then what's the purpose? You better know. You need to just be able to read my mind.
Goodbye, my friend. Still the one for me.
No, not even a little bit, actually.
Even a bit.
No.
Also,
now there's 2 things.
Don't forget the giveaway.
There was only 1 thing. Now there's 2 things that I never want you to do again.
Don't mute him on the way out. No. I muted myself.
Now there's 2 things.
No, okay. I had to reload this for you, so you've got a fresh chat for you.
Now there's 2 things I don't ever want you to do again.
1 second. Let me hide my face. There you go.
Don't turn that camera off.
Oh, I won't turn the camera?
Your face cam.
Don't turn it off.
No.
Why?
Because when I end the stream and go over there, I want to be able to turn it back on. I want to be able to
I guess that's
unhide so they can see me while I'm doing the end of the show.
Sure.
You always turn it off, and then it's just a big talking head. It just isn't comfortable.
I understand. Do you see this? Do you see my little button here? This is how I...
Yeah, I know how to do it. It's just that usually when I go over there and hit the button, it shows a black nothingness.
You see what I have to put up with, chat?
It's the tone.
It's just the blatant tone. I mean, just like, what is this? All right, I am leaving.
Chris,
I'm not leaving.
You would know what to do without this.
Without this?
Yeah.
Oh, I know exactly what I would do.
He'd be lying awake at night saying, I miss the slings and arrows.
Oh.
Christopher, thank you so much.
Yes. I'm still going to be here.
Oh, don't I know it. You're going to be over there working. He never leaves, this guy.
A long time.
He's here for a long time, not a good time, as soon as the stream's over. Okay, what are we doing? What are we doing here? What do you do here? Do I still have voice? Is the mixer still on? All right. All right, there we go. There we go. Where's my buttons? Where's my buttons, Chris? There's my buttons. Chris, you're pushing my buttons. There we go. There we go. I have Zoom. Zoom! Everyone, welcome to the after hours portion of the show. That's when Chris gets up and evacuates and leaves us behind, strands us on the island alone with no help, no assistance, no hope for survival. It's just you and me, kid. And this part of the show, I have to warn you, gets a little off the rails because I paint and don't pay attention to chat. So if you ask a question, there's no guarantee past the time Chris gets up out of his seat that it'll ever be heard. I mean, it'll be heard because you'll come back tomorrow and you'll ask Chris. And then Chris will ask me again. I did not realize until lately, after doing this, where every now and then I'll stream on my own on the after hours stream, how dependent I have become on a producer. So while I could say I apologize, I do like my life. It just means it's a little harder to make it all make sense when Chris is gone. So I apologize, but welcome to the after hours. I'll continue to paint. You'll continue to ask questions. I will look up every now and then. We'll get them done and we'll tell some fart jokes. Everything will be fine. It'll be fine. Fine, chat. Did you die? But did you die? Mom, I'm bleeding. But did you die? What's the deal with the heavy titanium white? It's just a satin. It's just like satin black, but white. I just got a bottle and was curious. No, the heavy is a heavier, it's a thicker paint. It was done in development with Ben and Matt for their signature series paints. It and the heavy warm white are colors that are thicker viscosity than our other paints. They're in between our expert acrylic paints and the normal pro acryl as far as viscosity, how thick they are. They're meant to be able to tip load with, meaning that you can get just a tiny bit of color on the tip of your brush and do that loaded brush blending with it, right? Because you don't want a watery paint to loaded brush blend with, because the watery paint will soak up into the other paint that's on the brush. If you don't know what loaded brush technique is, it's where you have a brush filled with one color and then you put another color just at the tip, and that color on the tip stays right at the tip. It doesn't bleed into the other color in the brush. Then when you make a brush stroke, you get a very light touch and you get that first color, usually brighter color, and that brighter color goes down, and then as you press harder, you start introducing the second color that's loaded on the brush, a darker color, and they blend, and then you go out to just the other one. So you can create really neat edge blends and things like that with it. Works great. But it requires the paint that you put on the tip to be a little more viscous so that it doesn't blend up into the other color naturally. It requires you to blend with your brush stroke. So no, it's not like satin black. They are satin, but they are not the same viscosity as satin black. Oh, I need that to be thinner. Mucho thinero. Yeah, it's a neat technique. I don't find a whole lot of use for it, but I don't do the same blending that they do in small areas. A lot of times I like texture more. But in areas where you want to do very tight blending, rather than having to glaze a million layers to get your blend, like on a cheek, or a small part of a face, or really anywhere, armor, anything. It's not relegated to any particular style or location on the model. Then it's a great tool to have in your toolbox. I like it for edge blends because it's really neat way to pull bright shine onto like non-metallic metal edges and tight areas. Very, very useful for that. Just a lot of sloppy stippling going on here. Just getting texture on the tongue. The tongue's got a neat texture to it in that kind of taste bud sense, but it does get flat as it comes out towards the end here. It doesn't have as much texture to it. So I want to keep that texture going because I really like that. It's creepy. With a tongue this big, you can imagine it. Give Daddy a kiss. Hi! It's only $1 for a kiss at the kissing booth. Come see me. like that. I'm using fairly thin paint, so it's going to look a lot more bright when I apply it the first time, and then you'll notice how very quickly, because these little bitty spots dry real quick, tones down very quickly. So it gives you the blend when you stipple by doing various thicknesses of paint, various opacities of paint, thin it down so it's less opaque, and you just then stipple that along the edges of your brighter colorings. And that'll give you the feeling of a blend, and then you can come back and stack it up, go with more opaque versions of it to brighten it, and get a lot of really cool texture. It's a lot different than when you do lines, right? Because you can do hash marks and lines. Now I'm just following the lines in the sculpt here, but doing lines versus stippling makes the tongue look like it would feel different if you touched it. Ooh, gross, versus touching that down there. That's what we call material separation. Being able to use your brush stroke to create different textures on the model will make different things look differently. One of the things we've seen it in really nicely lately was the airbrush on this red cloak makes the cloak look soft because it doesn't have edges that a brush would leave if you're doing it. The airbrush does lots of tiny dots. It's very pixelated, so to speak, versus the way the skin looks and the sash or whatever this thing is coming down off of his neck, where I've done that all with brush strokes. So everything else is has more contrast and doesn't look smooth because my colors are delineated with my brush stroke better. And then the cloak looks very soft. So you just get the feel that if you walked up and touched various points of the model, what they would feel like to you. You know what that feels like. It's like a woolen, cottony soft, and the rest of it is, I don't want to touch that naked mechanical construct guy. I also don't want to touch this guy's tongue, but, you know, whatever. Wad, have a good one, man. Take care. Lutz, your eyes are not good enough. Realized the other day I can't really read interstate signs anymore till you're passing them. Glasses. Does this guy even know how to pilot a Steiner Scout mech? Kriegs, what is going on, my friend? I want everybody to take note that Kriegs Todlich over there has been around forever. Kriegs, what is going on? Good to see you. Holy blowback. Good to see you, my friend. Kriegs has been around from the good old days. LaPlante, that red is still stunning. We'll show you how. I know that a lot of people have been wanting to get that. I painted the red off stream. I painted it at home like at midnight one night. We have the leader for that group called the Eidolon, and it has some cloak on it, so we'll paint him the same way. Good to see you, Kriegs. Hope you're doing well. You've worn glasses since you were in 3rd grade and doing the whole bifocal thing. Need to get new ones. Oh, my gosh. Struggling to paint geometrical shapes, for example, on Gray Knight shoulder pads. Any advice how to approach this, GK? So geometrical shapes are one that I typically say, pink on my flesh may not show up. It shows up okay. So like on a shoulder plate, what are you trying to paint on the shoulder plate? A rectangle on Gray Knights, is it? Or like a diamond or something? One of the best ways to do it is to start small if you can. So imagine that I have, well, let's just grab, do I have a shoulder plate anywhere that I can paint on? I got this guy that we were painting on earlier, that we did the metallic. See, he's metallic-y now. Look at that. But like if we were going to paint, for some reason, a green diamond on here. Tell me what shape, GK? Like squares of red going into white. Like a checkerboard? Is that what you're talking about? Are you painting a checkerboard? Checkerboards, okay, checkerboards are different, but similar. So if I want to paint a square, checkerboards are hard because a lot of people will tell you to do a checkerboard by doing lines and then crossing the lines to make the checkerboard. I do not recommend that because half of your squares are bigger than the other half and it's noticeable. And that's because the line thickness that you do it with will add volume to the dark or filled in squares versus the other ones, right? Because normally if you do it with like white paint, make your check, checkerboard layout, and then you paint some of the squares in white, all of the white ones will be bigger than the black ones. And it can be very noticeable. So I'm a nut job. When I paint checkerboards, I paint it where I paint each square individually, which is mind numbing, but it's the only way that you can really guarantee that your stuff will look similar. So that's like how I did this guy, right? It's faded because we went back over it with transparent white to give it that oxidized, beaten in the sun look. But that's how I did that. Just paint the squares. Now, in order to paint the squares, though, when you say you're having a hard time with geometrical shapes, if you start small, sometimes is the best way to do it. My paint's probably dried up since I've been talking for so long. Yep. Sit here yapping and my paint dries on the brush. I would start, like, if I wanted a square, let's do a diamond just because it makes sense. A diamond on his shoulder plate. I might start with a small one just to make sure I get my dimensions right first. And treat it as each one of the sides is an individual line. And rotate the model so it's the best way for you to pull that line. Notice how I'm turning the model so that I'm always pulling my brushstroke towards my body, right? That helps a lot. And then I get the diamond shape I want. And then if that's big enough, that's great. But if it's not, now I have a basis where I can make this bigger by just drawing parallel lines to those that I've already done. But always move the model so you're pulling your line comfortably. Don't ever try to make the paintbrush into a pencil. Like with a pencil, you might try to do the diamond all in like one stroke, right? Kind of the way you would draw a star. If I handed you a pen right now and said, draw me a star, I bet you would do the star in one motion. Most people would. You can't do that with a paintbrush as easily, right? So here you have to treat it as all joining lines and do each face as its own line so that you can pull that nice straight line. Then you can come down here and rotate the model around so you can pull that nice straight line. And then rotate it back around here and pull that nice straight line. And then one more time up here and pull that nice straight line. Right? That one feels like it's not flaring out right. Something like that. Okay. Then I always do the outside and then fill it in. Rather than trying to paint a solid shape, I paint the shape and make it solid after. It's easier to do that. Right? And get a diamond that way. As opposed to if you try to take a brush that bends, unlike a pencil or a pen, and you try to do a line and then come down here and do a line, this line will always be thicker. Let me get exaggerated amount of paint on my brush to show you what I'm talking about. So if I do this line, right, and pull it right, I'll set it up right, but then I want to go like this. That line is now thicker, and then this line I'm actually pushing the brush and it gets sloppy, and then this line's almost impossible for me to pull. So now I'm out of whack because all my lines got to different thicknesses and I never tried to pick it up, as opposed to pull a line, change the direction so you can pull the line, change the direction so you can, I have to change my wrist here because my wrist doesn't bend on 360 degrees around. So I can pull the line and then back here so I can pull that line. And now you can keep better control of your geometry rather than trying to do a circle all in one brush stroke because the brush bends so much that it'll never be round. Whereas if you do it in quarters, if you draw a quarter of your circle and then a quarter of your circle and then come this way and draw a quarter of your circle and a quarter of your circle, you can be much better off keeping something at a good starting point rather than trying to do it as a round thing. Remember, your paintbrush is not a pencil. You can get really good with it and start using it like a calligrapher would. It's still going to change line weight as you move it around because it bends. And wherever it bends, you're going to get more paint. And so that creates thicker lines. So just remember the limitations of the brush and use them to your benefit rather than making them a weakness when doing shapes and freehanding. What about drawing with a pencil on the model first? You can. Remember that graphite is a material that gets on top of your paint. So that is tricky because you can paint over the graphite and then not get good adhesion. Don't press very hard. Mechanical pencils, I suggest, are much better. Now, pens, I used to use micron pens like these. Pens are even better, right? Because the ink is going to adhere better. It's not going to soak in, But as you paint, I guess sometimes you got to be careful depending on if you varnished it or not. You might paint and drag the ink off, so you have to be careful with that. But that's just going to blend the color. It's not going to cause much of a problem. But I would use like micron ink to draw it on there rather than graphite. Graphite I use a lot on models to give like shine to the edge of tank tracks and stuff. Graphite in its own world can be a really neat thing, like pencil lead. Can do some really neat stuff. But by and large, I don't like to pencil my design on models first. I would prefer to use a pen. Because the ink isn't going to be a thing that you have to worry about after the fact as much as the graphite will. Yeah, micron pens are great. A crenellated edge, is that like diamond after diamond kind of thing? I don't remember. Oh, I know what you're talking about. It's like a castle wall thing. Yeah. Sigavac, so you're about through reading Color and Light. Awesome. It's changed everything about painting, doesn't it? The simplest and emphatical part of the book made a light bulb go off, and now you look at your models totally different. The blue of a black opal, highly recommend. Yep, definitely. Yep. Less yapping, more paint slapping, says Ghost Hunter. Dadgummit. That's like Chris sitting here saying, dance, monkey, dance. Now I got you. Great. Thanks. Fantastic. Guy's got a heck of a set of gums. Maybe that's what he is. Maybe he's like a dental hygienist for his day job, this guy. Very difficult to get in here to do fine lines. So I'm limited in what I can do kind of because of the shape of this to get in here and do really quick texturing. We'll make do. Sometimes you just got to figure out how to hold your hand properly, do a dry run of it first. You don't have to do everything with paint, remember. You can do something where you don't have any paint on there and just get the brush stroke. Practice the feel of the area. I'm not doing that. I'm putting paint on as I go, but sometimes if you got to get into a deep crevice, it might be good to go in there without paint on the brush and see if you can make it happen. See if you can at least get in there and make it feel like you can move your hand properly to get the brush stroke laid down and then go do it with the paint. Try that, maybe. I'm wondering, there's a part of me that wants to put yellow over this rather than Payne's Gray. Yellow first and then Payne's Gray? Payne's Gray and then yellow? If I do yellow first and then Payne's Gray, I'll get green on some of it, which I don't want. But the yellowish over the magentas and the pinks that I have right now will be really cool because they'll give it a little bit more red. And then if I do Payne's Gray first and the yellow over that, if I do the Payne's Gray as a wash, that's what we need to do, right? Payne's Gray as a wash on the tongue and the mouth, and then look at what we've got. We might have to highlight back up to get rid of the bluishness over the pink, right? Because that's going to give us kind of a purplish. And then we could do the yellow over that without it getting too green, I think. Payne's Gray is on this model. We already sprayed a lot of it on here. We did a Payne's Gray wash filter where I took the Payne's Gray wash, thinned it down, and got it into the shadows, even into the red, to tie it all together. So it wasn't just primer or not primer, and that worked pretty well. It shows up better where I did it, because we did it with the airbrush on this guy, because he's too big to just slop wash all over the body, really. It's going to look kind of messy. But on something small like this, we were able to put the wash on with a brush. And you can see it darkens up the shadows a little bit more on here. A little bit more uniform application on this guy than on the big beastie. This is my test model. I really like this color scheme. It works a well. Payne's Gray is possibly the best color. It is possibly the best color. All right, I think we're ready. Payne's Gray wash, here we go. Here we go. And the 1 and the 2. I miss Chris. Where's Chris? He always leaves me. Well, what brown red is that for the green? Underneath, it's just red oxide primer. Just red oxide primer. Our red oxide primer underneath, and then the next layer over the red oxide is bright jade, right? So it's red oxide, bright jade. Over the top of the bright jade is golden yellow. And then over the top of the gold yellow is pale yellow. And then the Payne's Gray wash over the top of the skin parts on this one. I didn't put Payne's Gray over everything. But on this guy, it's Payne's Gray over everything, because it's nothing but chitin and skin and gross. So that was close. I tested on this to see if I liked it. It worked out really well. The red oxide primer is a fantastic place to start. Remember, it's darker than the standard red oxide, so you can use it along with red oxide to get some really good results. But it's a great base if you want a warm shadow. And so on this army for the Spires, I was like, well, on everything else that I'm painting, I'm putting a cooler shadow on, which is my norm. You know, when I was doing this guy, I don't remember what this guy's called, right? But doing the Weaver Quartz, my whole color scheme is going to be, you know, royal purple shadow, and then the wood colors over the top, going into yellowish browns over the top of that. So that'll give me a really neat, and then the really good shocks of like primary green, yellow green for the leaves and things like that. Give me a good wood elf, you know, fantasy feel. And that will appear a little warmer, but I really like the idea of red on these guys for some reason. And then this kind of greenish jade color. Okay, so loads of wash. I'm going to need a new Payne's Gray wash bottle here, like stat. Put a little water in it. A little water. Never hurt nobody. Royal purple is a great shadow tone. 100%. It's a great color overall, but it's a really great place to do shadows. I do put it, if I use royal purple, I put it over black primer, because it does need to get darker in the deepest tones. But, you know, one of the best ways to use it is to do a really good, proper pre-highlight zenithal of white and black, and then paint the whole model royal purple. Don't do the zenithal for necessarily anything other than to give punch to the royal purple in the midtones, because then it gives you a really good basis to build the rest of your color over. And push your white, if you do that, your pre-highlight, push your white further into the shadows. Leave the shadows and then blend the white down into the shadows, so you get really black, and then deep gray, light gray, and then white. And then put the royal purple over that, so you get almost black, and then you start getting a punchy royal purple. Because royal purple has a lot of magenta and violets in it, because they just aren't very opaque. And so putting it over black, you won't get a real punchy royal purple unless you do the pre-highlight, if that's what you're looking for. If that's what you're into. All right, here we go. Here we go, Chad. Hold your breath. We're putting a wash on. I don't ever know what's going to happen. I just do what they tell me, Chet. We're just going to slop it in here, man. Just do the thing. Just put the paint on the model, as our hero Chris, who leaves us and abandons us daily for cigs and milk, would say. I just want a good uniform coverage, and really I'm doing side-to-side brush strokes, so I'm making sure to get a lot of it in these crevices of the texture on the model. Remember that a lot of times your paintbrush direction, the brush stroke you use, can depend a lot on the shape of the model and where you want the coloring to lie. If I just do a downward brush stroke, it's going to get paint everywhere but in the crevices, so I'm going to use a side-to-side brush stroke here to help that along. Down here it's less important. Do a little bit of textured here. Wispy brush strokes because I do need it to blend to the outside edges. I love our washes. They just paint so well. Now, there's an argument to be made to not do the Payne's Gray on the tongue, or to just do it on the shadows of the tongue. So maybe that's a good thing to do, right? Not treat it like it's all the exact same. The tongue is a different, beastie than just the rest of the inside of your mouth. Maybe we should do that. Not put the Payne's Gray on the tongue. What say you, oh great wise chat? Hot pink tongue? Oh, the yellow would do that, right? So maybe we don't do any Payne's Gray on the tongue. Yellow would give us a move towards hot pink. It won't be completely hot pink, but it would make it more so than it is. Maybe that's the answer, chat. Sorry if I get to a point where you can't see what the hell I'm doing here. Not the easiest thing in the world to get the inside upper surface of a mouth painted at all. This is when I'm trying not to get it on the tongue now that I've made this statement of mine. Now that I've decided that there is some reason not to put Payne's Gray on the tongue. Am I insane? Why do I cause myself these problems? This is looking good. Holy angles. Mr. Bojangles. What to do? I think I just treat it like I'm just doing the socket of the tooth maybe here. Nah, I guess I can kind of feather it around a bit. See how that dries. I'm hoping it doesn't dry. It won't. It's our washes. What are you talking about? Don't be afraid. Just go in. Be brave. Be brave, little one. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. You can do like that, and then you can do like that. Nah, 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 nah. Blend. Blend, my friends. Fly, be free. See that wet spot that I have? Oh, sorry. See that wet spot I have right there? Kind of finger blend and then wipe your finger off and smudge it again. Boom. I'm probably way off stream. I notice I'm not on camera for a lot of this. This big beastie and turning it in every different direction is really tough for me to keep it locked in on the camera. I apologize. I apologize, chat. Don't kill me. Again, I just want to get the wash in around the tooth, the socket of the tooth here, but also a little bit up into all this magenta that we've done up on this blended to the green area. And I'll just kind of slop it up there. And then again, just take my finger and tap it. Wipe it off, tap it, wipe it off, tap it. It's a fine. Again, on these, I want to blend the Payne's gray out a bit, so I'll go ahead and just kind of feather it with the texture, same texture I painted the magenta with. That'll be fine. It'll be fine. Believe, trust the process. It works like two chaps. Not just one, but two chaps. All right. And again, I'm just going to take what's left of the wash that I have on my brush and extend it up a little bit into this area here, but not over my really bright stuff. Just the bottom of the tongue. With my brush stroke going back to the underside of the tongue rather than pulling the paint from the underside outward. Do it out here and pull it back down into the shadows like that. That's suitably gross. Over here, we don't really need it, but we'll put it on there anyway, just for saying we did. Again, even though it's hard to see, probably I'm look right there. And I'm just taking my brush stroke and starting in the purple area and pulling it back down into the shadows. Even with a wash, it's important that wash will dry and you'll be able to see that it blends perfectly in with the surroundings when you do it this way. Remember, you don't have to just slop a wash over your model. Washes are very useful tools to just use in a more painterly way. I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. Again. Again, it's hard for me to show you what I'm doing because of the all the stuff covering up the model here. Noise. I like it. Then I think we do a yellow on the top of the tongue. Just go right after it. No Payne's Gray. That solidifies that deal, and it'll keep the tongue at a totally different color, but with the same base hues. Like we've underpainted the mouth, and now it's Payne's Gray to purples, right? And all the deep stuff, which will work really well. Have you ever used speed paints as washes? Recently managed to get a ton for free, trying to find a good use for them, Darian. Well, we're just coming out with our own version of speed paints. And on ours, I would say that while you can, there is an inherent difference between what is called a speed paint in the market and a wash. Speed paints are not just bright colored washes. They are paints that are meant to have a higher tint strength, which means they leave more color on every surface they touch, right? High tint strength means you get all the color right where you put it, right? So wherever you put the brush, that you get that color, bam, high tint strength. So remember that term. So washes are what I would call low tint strength. May not be technically correct, but they're a lower tint strength, meaning that when you put a wash on, like what we just did here, notice how we slopped Payne's Gray wash on every surface. But where are you seeing it? In the recesses, right? It's acting like a traditional wash will, where it'll pull paint into the recesses, stay in those low spots, and do that job very nicely. So it doesn't have a high tint strength on the upper surfaces because it flows from the upper surfaces into the lower surfaces. So will a speed paint do that? If you add a wash medium to it, but why not just do that with a normal color, right? Because a speed paint is meant to have more staining strength, more tint strength on every surface it touches, which is not why you use a wash. They're two different things. So can you use them? Sure. You can make any paint do almost anything. Should you? I don't know that you'll be happy as you can be with that effect, but it's always worth trying, right? I'm a guy that says, hey, if you can come up with it, give it a shot and see what you think. Just try it on a test model and see before you commit it to like your favorite army that you're currently painting. You can thin them way down. They still will leave a more even coverage of pigment on every surface they touch. That's the difference between a wash and a speed paint. That's why they're chemically different. Otherwise, we would just make washes that have more pigment in them. But that doesn't solve the problem. The chemicals in a wash make it skate across the surface more, higher surface tension, so it moves across the surface more, pulls the pigment with it as gravity pulls the liquid, leaves less pigment behind. That's not the case with speed paints. But you can use them for glazes, right? If you're not into the speed paint painting method of going over either a bright primer or a zenithal model for your base coats, then you can use them as glazes. The problem with them as glazes is that, and everybody else's, and this is a marketing statement, right? But it's true, is that everybody else's are formulated to act very different when you glaze with them. They're weird feeling. They feel a little oily to me, which is why we never use them and why we wouldn't make a paint like that. Our version allows you to glaze, mix it with other colors. You can mix it with the non-glaze. You can mix them with just your standard opaque Pro-Acryl paints and turn them into anything you want. And they just have a high tint strength. So think of like ours are like our transparent paints, but that flow differently so that they also pull pigment into the recesses like a wash. They're like a hybrid. So, Sazzle, take it easy, man. Take the dog for a walk. Have fun. You have a great evening. Appreciate it. Appreciate the testing mindset. I got like 20 plus for free. Yeah, don't throw them away. Yeah, if you have colors that you got for nothing, use them. Try to use them. Figure something out. I think glazes is the best way, but they're going to be finicky, right? When you use them as glazes, they just don't act like normal paint when you glaze with them most of the time. But again, it's just get your muscle memory for it and find out what it does and doesn't do well. Because they still want to do that part of a wash that pulls pigment into low spots and builds up color there. So when you glaze with them, if there's any inconsistencies in surface, you'll get more color in the low spots like you would with a wash. You'll just leave more of that color on the top too. So it can do some really cool stuff. You see some very high-end painters that will use it as a glaze and a detail paint. So you can do amazing stuff with it. It just takes more knowledge of the paint before it becomes useful again after you've stopped using it as a beginner. Right? People ask us what's the difference and why are we getting into the speed paint realm, and the difference is that our paint will be useful for you from the time you buy it to the time you stop painting. God forbid. You can use it as a first timer, as a speed paint or contrast paint. You can then use it to mix with other colors to get your highlight colors with. You can use it to simulate wash and filters in areas very simply, where you don't have to be a scientist to know how to thin your paint. And then eventually you'll get into more of the complicated glazing and filtering things that you can do with it, airbrushing with it, all of that. It'll grow as your talents and confidence grow, is the reason we made ours. Because I just don't like selling people product that you wind up getting sick of and put it away and don't use it again. All right, yellow. What yellow do I want to use? I do not want to use our version of speed paint here because I do not want it to have a very high tint strength. So good segue. If I were to use it on this, it would make too much yellow go into the low spots. That's not what I want. So I believe what I want to use, transparent yellow. So I'm going to get transparent yellow, and we're going to make a filter out of transparent yellow. Boom. Transparent yellow. I need some cups. Where are all my cups? Wo ist cups? No. Where are my cups? Why I has no cups? I'm probably just not seeing them. I bought like 50 million. Where are my cups? Hold, please. I gotta go find cups someplace. Welp? I don't know where they went. Am I losing my mind? Did I just get new ones at home and I don't have any here? Distress. Where's Chris when you need him? He wouldn't know, though, probably. Oh, well. I used my last cup. Maybe we can clean this one out. See if we can clean this one out, chat. We're getting down to desperate times around the studio here if we have to clean out plastic cups. What's my opinion on spray primers from other brands not sticking well with PA paints? It's the PA paints are skating. It's not necessarily sticking well, right? I mean, okay, so you're saying the primers aren't sticking to our paints or vice versa? I guess I should ask that first, right? A lot of primers have a waxy surface to them. They say they're matte and they're not. They're satin, and satin has a smooth surface. Imagine, when you want to oil wash, you put a gloss varnish down because the oil wash skates across it more than a matte finish. Matte finish has what we call tooth. So a matte surface has lots of little, if you look at it under a microscope, it has lots of inconsistencies in the surface, lots of little spiky bits. And so if you go in and smooth all that out with a gloss, that's what a gloss does. It lays very smooth. And now it has a smooth surface that the paint has a hard time grabbing onto. And we do not use a paint that is meant to like just etch, or it's not etching, bad term, but it will have a harder time. It still adheres, but the first coat will show through a little bit. It won't be opaque. It'll kind of bead up sometimes on those waxy surfaces. Let that happen and then just paint another coat on it. You're fine. You're fine. Wow. I cleaned the cup. I have a cup. I don't know where the rest of my cups are. I'll bring some from home to make sure that I didn't just fantasize about having more cups here. I don't know where they went. I was pretty certain I bought a whole new set for here and then bought a whole set for the house, but I may be lying to myself. Yellow, oh yellow. Yellow. Yellow transparent, folks. Who needs inks when you have transparents? Oh, that's right, you don't. All right, so some glazed wash medium, because I do want to thin it down. So some good old glaze and wash. Probably about 1 to 1, whatever you need, something like that. And a little bit of water. Again, my recommendation when doing any kind of filtering is to over thin your paint, not aggressively over thinning. You don't want to have it be so thin that you get no color. Obviously, that's bad. But if you over thin it, you can correct that as you're painting, as opposed to not thinning it enough, which is you can't correct. You have to paint it over, right? You have to do more work to correct, I guess is the way to say it. You can definitely still fix it. It doesn't make your model irreparable. But it's easier to over thin it, put it on, and recognize that you didn't get enough color, and then put a second coat on. That's just a little more effort, versus putting it on and going, oh, holy hell, I just turned the whole tongue yellow, right? And now I didn't want a yellow tongue, so what do? I got to find a way to glaze magentas and stuff back over it. So this is the kind of yellow I'm going to get. You see it turning what it's doing to the pink there? I think that's a pretty good tone, right? If we put it over this, it just makes a very hot pink out of that pink on my thumb. That's what I'm looking for. Okie doke, it's going to be very yellow over the pink stuff, but I know this going in, and I'm fine. I'm here for it, Chet. Right? We ready? Everybody hold your breath. Hold your breath. And on this, the way we did the Payne's Gray, pulling from the bright into the dark, this time we're going to pull from the dark into the bright with the brighter color. Right, so we get that blend along the edge. Bingo. Oh boy, that's a bad liver you got there, buddy. Just going to put it out there. Might want to go see a doctor, my friend. Notice how I painted along the line of the tongue. Whenever doing filters, make sure you have a spot you can call an edge, because if you just leave a color out in the middle of like this side of the tongue, and then you go off, clean your brush, bring more material back, you might get staining there because the paint is so thin it starts to dry real quick, and you might get a line, and then you put yellow along that line and it darkens where the two meet. Right, so always try to find an edge to paint to, like I did here. I painted everything on this side of the tongue, then we can go over to this side, do the same thing. Then there is no edge where the colors meet and have a problem over darkening or whatever. I like the way it looks with the yellow a little bit underneath too. So I am going to be more aggressive with the yellow. I did it on the other side as a test in the shadows, and I like it. So we'll put it a little bit more under here. Gross. That's perfect. Oh my God, that's perfect. That's like some really bad Nurgle flesh. There you go. Take that to the bank, my friends. You notice on the darker side, it gives us more of that fleshy pink, because the yellow, as thin as we have it, won't overcome it. We could put a little bit more down here if we want to, but I'm gonna let that. No, I'm gonna put a little bit more, because the transparents will always have more intensity as you put them on the model, and then when they cure, you'll lose a lot of that. So again, you might want to build up layer after layer. So I'm going to put a little bit more down here so I can get a little more of that yellow. It doesn't look like I forgot this area. But I do like the more fleshy. Ugh. Yeah, absolutely vile. That's horrible. That's like if that color's on your body, go get checked. That is not a good thing. Go get a test. Speak to somebody. Get an intervention. Stop doing whatever it is you're doing. Switch back to your old milk. Oh God. Like looking at it on the screen, looking at it face to face, it's the model, it's here, it's there, but looking at it on the screen makes it kind of distant. And God, that's awful. I'm glad we didn't do the Payne's Gray over the tongue first. It would have joined it to the mouth a little bit too much in color. I really, really dig where we are right now. I keep taking a little bit of the yellow out and putting it on the palette so I can thin it even more with water on my brush. I got a big number 6 brush here. I like applying washes with a big brush when you can because I can control more. And we basically have turned this into a wash. We're just kind of applying it a little bit more aggressive, or a little bit more strategically than we would a wash. We're not dumping it on like we just did the Payne's Gray. But it allows me to come down here and kind of stipple and feed it into a little bit of this veining that goes under the tongue here, which I think is kind of a cool blending area. I don't know if it's veins, tendons, whatever this is, this little flap of skin on the bottom of your tongue that really sucks when you cut it with a chip or something. This guy eats chips. Do you like queso, my friend? If we took you to Los Dos, would you like the queso? It's not good. This is everything horrible about our hobby, is that we have beasties that you can put this color on and it is so right and yet so wrong at the same time. I like that a lot. I'm not going to mess with it anymore. That's damn near perfect. We still have our stippling texture. Everything through it, the transparent yellow just turns it a little bit yellow. We can come back and highlight it again, but that's a god-awful color. That's great. That's disgusting. And simple, right? The thing about filters that I always say is it makes it look like you know a whole lot more than you do about color and mixing and stuff, right? 100% halitosis. Yeah, this guy's breath is not going to be good. Not good. Here's a Ludens. GK, have a good one. What about painting this yellow over purple? Wait, Ozzy, what do you mean? That was kind of what we did, right? This was all purple and magentas with the yellow over it. It would just darken if you go over a darker purple. Like if we were to go over the mouth parts down here, or the gums where we put the Payne's Gray, the yellow would just darken into a more greenish yellow. It would still have some heat to it where it hit the magenta and stuff, but over the purple, it would become a little bit more of a weird, grotesque coloring like this, just darker, right? Quesadilla, cheese of the day. I'm with you. Yes, sign me up. Where are we going? I'm down. Do I need a plane ticket? Ozzy's like, it looks horrible, but that's good. Exactly, right? It's like the only hobby where it can be like, oh, geez, that's gross. I love it. I love it. Make sure I didn't miss any questions. I probably did. I'm sorry if I missed questions. Remember, we're at the after hours part. My producer, Chris, is no longer here. He's been replaced by the Monument Hobbies logo below. He's normally giving us grief and keeping up with chat. He's off doing the Lord's work someplace. Well, first sample Casu Marzu from Sardinia. What? Sardinia? I'm on a plane. This already sounds great. He says, yeah, no, thank you. Oh, that's not what we want? We don't want that? Okay, never mind. You seen those realistic bone sinew Tyranids on Instagram with the guy using the Uhu glue? They look like realistic innards. Oh, no, I haven't. Oh, it's fitting for this. Oh, well, then no, I don't want that. No, I don't. We have different ideas of fine cheese, maybe. I'm not a Limburger fan, but I feel like this probably smells like Limburger. Right? Ozzy, you were thinking a good color mix for using transparent paints for good non-metallic metal gold. Oh, so trying to work something up to a gold non-metallic by you putting the transparents over a base. Well, you can see what's happening here. You would get a good kind of weird, almost brownish yellow out of it with the magentas. It's not really brown, but it gives you the feel of being able to work that up into gold, right? Obviously, this organic shape doesn't lend well for making that feel like it's a possibility. But if you have the vision, you can see the colors for what they are. And yeah, I think if you did purple, magenta, this over something gold, and then started doing your bright shine over it, you could get some color. I think that feels like a lot more work than it's worth, but maybe not. Maybe not. That's really, it is vile and disgusting. Notice how the yellow, as it dries, tones down a bunch. But that's still proper disgusting right there. It's rotten cheese. A Roquefort or a Brie pastry. I love Brie. A Brie and a flaky pastry is good, but I just like Brie. I just like Brie on any bread. Brie's one of my favorite cheeses. Oh, I'm not clicking that. You said the most horrific realistic painting you've ever seen. I'm not clicking that. The paint applying poorly to Citadel and Vallejo rattle cans, for example, says Musashi. Yeah. Yeah, generally, if they say matte and aren't matte, our paints aren't going to like it because they may have started matte, but the matte separated out of the formulation, and now they're imbalanced from a pH standpoint, and they get a weird waxy sheen to them. And the problem with most other spray primers on the market is that they make so many of them and they sit in a warehouse where the matting part of it falls to the bottom and it'll never mix back up in that can, right? Like once the matting agent has separated out of the suspension in a rattle can, it'll never really mix back up. Even when you hear that ball bouncing around in there, it just won't do it. So you have to be careful with that. You're getting dirty athlete sock vibes from his tongue? Oh, gross. Gross. But you can still break it, like, no matter what. Like, I don't care. Like, if I get we've had models in here that'll come through that we've gotten off eBay or whatever, and they're covered with, like, Corax White or something like that. Is that Corax White? Whatever it is, the white primer. And I don't have a problem with it. Airbrushing your base coat over it is really good because you'll get better adhesion from an airbrush where you're not putting lots of paint in one place. Doing a coat that's thicker, so don't thin your paint before you put it over. If you notice when you're putting the paint on a primed model that it starts beading up, put the paint on a little bit thicker. That'll prevent that from happening except at the edges. But put your base coat on, let it do its thing. If it looks like it's beading up, it's still adhering. It's just pulling into pools because of the waxy surface. The surface tension of our paint is thinner and will start to want to pull by itself, almost more watery, on a surface that's kind of waxy, right? So it's like oil and water. But it does adhere. And once that layer dries, put another coat on and you're fine. Because what you're not seeing in between the pigment pulling like that is that the medium itself is covering it, and you should get good adhesion. It won't allow the primer to have a problem on layer 2. So even though it looks weird, you can defeat it by another quick second coat. Doesn't have to be thick. You don't have to pile a bunch of paint on your model. A lot of times in painting, what you see first is not indicative of the end product if you just trust the process. That's one of those that's unfortunate, right? But it can happen with our primers. If you prime a model and don't paint it for a long time and you handle it, I always used to prime an army, go play with it and see if it was worth painting. Did I have fun with the army if I was playing a game? If I didn't, I'd, sell it. But if I did, I'd bring that army back and start painting it. And then I got like Cheeto finger oil on it, hand oil on it, and you'd paint. And every now and then you'd be painting, it's fine. And then you go over a spot and you'd have a thumbprint shape, ellipse elliptical shape on the model where the paint would bead up. Doesn't matter. Just paint it. It doesn't look good at the time, but just paint right over it. Let it dry and then paint it again and you're fine. You're back to the races. It won't do that every layer is what I'm saying. So you can beat it. It's just it's that, ooh, something's wrong moment, and don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Is it possible to do rattle cans thinner and make it nozzles smaller to make it less wasteful? No. It's all about the level of accelerant and the amount of paint it puts out when you press a button. You can get different spray heads on there that tighten the spray up, right? But it's like putting your thumb over a water hose. The pressure in the can is the pressure in the can, the same way the pressure in your water hose is the pressure in the water hose. You can turn the pressure on the water hose down a little bit, but all that does is increase it at the end anyway. But if you open it up, that's what a rattle can is. It's just on off, right? There's no in between. So it's like turning the water all the way on the faucet, going to the end of the hose, and put your thumb over it. You'll get faster, tighter spray out of it, but you can't do anything other than that. You'll still use the same amount of paint over time. Yeah, we don't do the PA paints in France yet. We're working with the folks at ColorForge to find a unified labeling style because EU wants different warnings on the label than the US has. So we're trying to come up with a universal label that we can use in both places. Lots of companies do it. They don't currently do it. So we have to design our own label that we can put on the monument sprays to have them shipped from the UK over to France. But we're working on it. I don't know. I don't have a time frame on you right now. You mean industrially, like possible to make smaller ones? There is what's called bag over valve or valve over bag sprays that are more environmentally friendly, that you can find paints that use valve over bag. They're less pressure. They utilize the paint better, but they don't have the same ability to cover in the same way. There's a lot of people use them in like hairspray, modern hairsprays and stuff like that. So the accelerant is just compressed air. So there's no volatile compounds in there to do that. So you just are compressed air in a can, and your paint is in a bag, and then they compress the can with compressed air, which forces a lot of tension on the bag. And then when you press the button, the air pushes the paint out in a simplistic manner. But you don't use all the paint that's in the can, and it doesn't mix paint very well. They're not great for paint because you can't shake it up. You can't put a bearing in it and shake and mix paint like acrylic paint. That'll get separated. So we don't typically see them in our industry. There might be a few companies that use it, but I don't think so. A lot of technological issues with spray paints. Gnarly says, I've been enjoying this hobby, so I've been getting more into it. Awesome. It's a great hobby. It really is. So Chris says sky blue to replace fluoro blue. Do I have to thin it a lot? Sky blue to fluoro blue. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yep. And put it over white. We don't do a fluoro blue because it doesn't really fluoresce well. It doesn't become a bright paint until you put it under UV. We didn't make our UV paints for the trick of putting them under, or our fluorescent paints for the trick of putting them under UV and having them glow. We made them so that they are very bright over white as a way to do OSL, because they're some of the brightest vivid colors, even in normal room lighting. And blue doesn't do that well. It glows really well when you put it under UV, but under normal light, it looks very bland. And our sky blue and transparent blue over white look a lot brighter blue for like OSL effects and stuff like that. That's why we don't make a blue. Oh, they have an RPG for Age of Sigmar? I didn't know that. Vigilant says over clear resin. Oh, use transparent blue. I would recommend using transparent blue. Because first off, what you're going to want to do is over your clear resin, you're going to want to prime it with matte varnish. It's going to make it not see-through, right? Don't worry about that too much. Prime it with matte varnish. It's going to cloud it. Then go over that with a paint. And typically you can mix like gloss varnish with your paint to make it shiny and see-through again. And then you can kind of use any color, but the sky blue is opaque. So you don't necessarily want to use sky blue. Transparent blue will allow it to become see-through clear resin again and just tint it blue. Like if I were painting a stained glass thing that was a clear piece of plastic and making it look like stained glass, I would only use the transparent colors. But you can prime see-through plastic, clear plastic with matte varnish. And like I said, it will cloud it to make it look like you can't see through it and you'll get all freaked out. But then you can mix gloss varnish with your paint or put gloss varnish back over it and you'll be able to see through it again. But you can mix the gloss varnish with the paint or just thin the transparent paint down and put it over the top of that matte and it'll make the whole thing see-through again, right? So you can play around and make some really cool effects for stained glass windows. Like I've seen a lot of like Sisters of Battle things where you can do that. It works great. Oh God, the more this, now that it's fully cured, that's really gross. See what I said, that the yellow tends to go away more and more? It's really just that heavy yellow up at the top where I put a couple coats on. And now it's just this weird flesh tone almost with the yellows. Right? Because magenta and yellow and white will make flesh tones. And that's kind of what we've done here. We didn't have the white, so it's very nasty. But that's pretty good. That's a pretty ugly tongue you got there, buddy. Give us a kiss. Well, I'm sitting here yapping because I don't feel like painting anymore, I don't think. I think having the tongue finished is a good spot to be in. Next is I have to paint 1,000,000 teeth. And that's questionable as far as fun goes. For this green chitin workup, would burnt sienna or burnt red work instead of red oxide? Burnt sienna would be better, the orange, rather than the pure red. I think the reason red oxide looks so good is because it's more of a burnt red. Kind of a color with orange, right? You can imagine like this version of it is a little warmer than just straight burnt red. Burnt red, it feels like it leans a little bit more blue almost. This has a lot more warmth to it. And so I think burnt sienna would get you closer here. Because if you just use burnt red, it can still look good because red and green work very well together. But if you want this kind of warmth and you don't have the red oxide primer, then I would use the burnt sienna. Because orange and green are great together. They work fantastic. Sigavax, take it easy. Have a great night. Payne's Gray wash over a white blue base coat for a grok truck. I mean, I recommend Payne's Gray over damn near everything, right? It's the best thing when you don't want to use black. So yeah, I think it would work great. It would retain the blue. If you use black in a situation like that, you'll desaturate your blues and it'll be less blue. So if you want to gray your blues out, black wash would be better. Payne's Gray if you want to retain that punch of the blue but still get the darkness in it. You don't have red oxide or pale yellow. Oh, on the pale yellow, do you have bright pale yellow by any chance? Or khaki? Khaki will be too dark. The pale yellow is pretty integral here, and there's not anything other than maybe bright ivory. If you have bright ivory, maybe. Bright ivory and pale yellow can go together very well. The pale yellow is just more yellow. But in this case, if you use the golden yellow underneath it, and you leave more of the golden yellow showing, that's not going to really hurt it much, right? You're very welcome. Enjoy your evening. You're using it for the electricity for the bottom of a gladiator tank? Oh, nice. Yeah, then I would do the Payne's Gray for sure. Yeah, if you've got bright yellow, if you've got bright ivory, use that instead, John Grammaticus. You want to make some cyber blocks, like from some simulation? What color should I start with? It's going to be like a battle simulation for Tau where all weapons and bases are generated. Are you planning on painting it black and then just edge highlighting them in blues? Kind of a thing? That could be fun. I mean, if you really want to get down, paint it like all gridded. Like Tron. Like the whole world's just a grid. I want to see that when you're done because you're insane if you do that. But, yeah. What color should you start with? I mean, I think doing it all in white, and then what would be really cool if you were to say right now, paint this model like a grid of Tron, sci-fi Tron grid simulation thing. I would literally go and highlight everything. I would paint it black. I would edge highlight everything in white. Maybe you do a grid if you're insane, right? But edge highlight everything in white so it looks like that Tron kind of thing, right? Everything's got neon white around every edge. You wouldn't do any lighting, right? Because in the simulation, it wouldn't have volumes the same way. It would all be the same brightness, maybe. and just edge highlight everything so it looked like a disaster, black with white edge highlights everywhere. And then I would spray blue transparent over the whole thing, or whatever color transparent you wanted your simulation to be. Green, like an old CRT screen, you know, not CRT, but the old like tube green computer screens. Maybe it was CRT. It just didn't have but one color, right? Monochromatic CRT. And then just spray it with transparent. You'd be done. Boop. Remember, white is a very powerful color when you're not using it for white. You can use it as the brightness underneath and then spray a color over the top of it. Paint. You can just hand brush the transparent over the top. And it'll be really, really bright where it goes over the white, and then darken down when it goes over the black, which will give it some depth, which can be kind of cool. Neon plaid. No. Stop it. Stop it. Yeah, green phosphor. Yeah. Yeah, it was still a cathode ray, I think, right? It was just, it had the green phosphor in the tube so that it was just a monochromatic green, right? I don't know. I had them. I worked around them. Not work. I was too young to be put to work. I'm not that old. Well, that's it for me, chat. I gotta go home and get some dinner. We painted a disastrously horrible tongue. Like, gross. Get it away from me. I don't want to have anything to do with you. We just need to go back and now highlight it with some more stippling to bring back the wet look, because our stippling all kind of darkened with the pink that we were using. But we can go back. Now we got to pick a different color, right? Because the pink doesn't make as much sense anymore. So now it's probably pale yellows that we highlight it with. We'll highlight that up, get the wet going in there. The Payne's gray still isn't dry from the wash. It's still wet in the deep areas in there, but it's curing very nicely. It's giving us a very nice uniform blue edge. One of the best things about our washes, if I punch in, you'll notice that, you know, you don't get a whole lot of piling up. Even though we piled it into the low areas, you notice how it doesn't stain like normal washes do. It still blends out nicely out of those areas. You just get a really nice uniform. You can see like we have big, huge wet chunks everywhere, but when those dry, they bleed out and blend into the surrounding areas. So gives us a really nice undertone for the rest of the mouth. And then we'll go in and we'll highlight that back up because the wash has desaturated this, but we can go back with the pink or pale pink on that and brighten up the wet look on the inside of the mouth. And then do the same on the tongue with pale yellow. And once we do all that, then we'll start painting teeth. This will take 1,000,000 miles to paint all this, or 1,000,000 days to paint all those teeth. Good God, Parabellum, that's a lot of teeth. They're small too, except for the big chonkin things on the mandibles here, or whatever that is, right? Fun. Then we got to figure out what we want to do with the chitin on the back plate. Part of me says black, and part of me says a kind of brown would be really good to play off the yellows and do something in a brown chitin. And then I could do brown on all the rest of them. The whole army would just be green and brown. The problem with that is I'm doing the Weaver quartz in that brown too, so probably black. I think black makes more sense. Yeah, the transparent blue will work great on clear. All the transparents are great for stuff like that, doing special effects, especially if you have like D&D minis that have like the spell effect that comes in clear plastic. You can paint them with a transparents and do great things with them. I always like I said, I always like to do matte varnish on them first so the paint grabs better. Otherwise, you got to be careful because it'll rub off the clear plastic. That clear plastic is a pain in the butt to get paint to adhere to. Nice, Ozzy. Spitfire, take it easy. Have a good one. Jen's making burritos. It'll be great. It'll be great. Hold tight. I'm going to go to the other side and we'll find somebody to raid. Ha-ha! I'll be back. He left the camera on. I have had way too much caffeine. I feel like I'm on another planet. Right? I'm asking you, right? Like, you know. I feel like I'm not me and I'm drinking more. It's this stuff. I don't know if you have one of these in your area. Don't ever drink it. You'll see through walls. It's high caffeine. It's got all the drugs. I think they put bad stuff in it. All right, let's see who's on. See who's on, and then I'll read you the outro. Bum, 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 bum. Kenny! Kenny's also painting like magenta weird shaped things. Oh, I think Kenny's doing Fulgrim. Ooh, yeah, man. Awesome. For those of you on Twitch, make sure to drop in. Go check out Next Level Painting. It looks like he's painting the new Fulgrim model, the newer Fulgrim model, which is bitchin'. I like it. We'll go check him out. Remember, if you're here for the first time, or if you've been here for a long time and haven't done it yet, hit the follow and subscribe button. It's what keeps us alive. Actually, what keeps us alive is you trying our paints. So if you haven't tried Pro Acryl or all the products you've seen me use today, go buy some. It's literally the best stuff you'll ever use. Or my name isn't Christopher Masushi. Right? If you like the paint, I'm Jason. If you don't like the paint, my name's Chris. But thanks for hanging out with us. We love having you around. Make sure to go check out our Discord. I can type the links. I can do links. Is it an exclamation point? Does anybody know this stuff? If I do this, is it this how it works? Aha! If you don't do anything else today or tonight before you go to bed, go join our Discord. It's an amazing community. Literally, it's like, I don't know, what was it last time we checked? 6,700. It's coming up on 7,000 amazing artists. We've been gaining members at a huge clip this last year and a half. Much appreciated. The community is literally the best you'll find. Very supportive, lots of inspiration, people doing cool stuff. And you get to take part in our monthly challenges, which this month is Army Men. You get to paint some of those dollar store green Army Men. We're going to do that on stream before the end of February. It's going to be a lot of fun. So make sure to stick around, tune back in for that. We do this every Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Monument Standard Time here in Phoenix, Arizona from Monument HQ. We'd love to see you back. So follow us. Subscribe, do all the fun things, and tell your boss that you're tuning out at 2 p.m. Monument Standard Time every day. Deal with it, boss. That's how you do that. That's it. That's simple. All right? And then over here, we do Raid, Next Level Painting. And we're going to all go yell, not painting, painting. We're going to yell at Kenny and have a blast throughout the rest of the evening. So thanks so much for hanging out with me. Love your faces. Glad you got to spend some time watching some paint dry. We'll be back again doing it mañana. I think tomorrow's the January challenge review. That's going to be a lot of fun. So we'll see you back here then. I'm going to hit this button. Boom. Start the raid. And I will check you guys later.